The mega campaign, where you take a nation through the Paradox games to see what monster of a world you've created at the end. Well, most people start in CK3, but we're going one step further, taking it from Imperator Rome to CK3 to EU4 to the game that shall not be named, ending with Hoi 4. And what better nation to take to the modern day than the already at the start of Imperator Rome old-fashioned nation of Sparta, a nation where men are men and sheep are scared, famous for standing up to this, and abs you can hang your coat on. Can we take Sparta from ancient times to modern day, and what will the world look like? Well, stay tuned to find out. And welcome to the mega campaign, guys, as Sparta. Now, I've not seen many people do a mega campaign from Imperator Rome, so things could get rather weird. I mean, there's a good chance that Christianity and Islam don't spawn at all, so the world is going to look very different by the end of this. But we are going to be reviving Sparta from the low point that it's at 300 BC at the start of the game, and hopefully bringing Spartan dominion and kings all the way from 300 BC to Hoi 4 and the modern day. And we get an event saying Alexander the Terrible. And basically the goal for today is to consolidate Greece, Macedon, Ionia, Aeolia, that sort of thing, and Crete to create a nice little kingdom for us to get into CK3. Inventions-wise, let's do the Spartan thing and go with a bit of discipline. And as Sparta, our levies are pretty good. It's heavy infantry, spearmen, and heavy cavalry. Absolutely glorious. So let's start our mission, guys. Spartan restoration. We've been ravaged by ambitious foreign warlords, jealous of the might of Sparta, leaving us weakened and without our allies and subjects of old. If we are to become an important regional actor in Greece again, we need to restore the city of Sparta to its former glory and put an end to our local rivals. Let's go. Let's go for the Helots of Messenia, giving us claims on Messenia. We're going to raise our levies already ready to go. We're going to ally Aetolia over here, and our long journey now begins. Let's press play, guys. And there we go. Our claims on Messenia are done. Let's see who would come in. Yeah, that's quite a lot, guys. We're probably not going to go for that straight away. However, we could get some mercs, so let's see if we can do this. Well, honestly, I think 10k troops would be enough, so let's get into this. It's going to be a little bit dicey, and we are going to double stack our armies. Well, there goes the Messenian army. Nice. And we're in a bit of a siege race over here, and we did win. Very nice. Problem is, now we have to win this battle, and it's very tight. It's very tight, but it looks like we are going to come out victorious. Nice. This is who we're at war with, by the way, guys. Quite a few people. And we got Revenge of the Furies. There goes Argos, and I'm so glad we took siege engineers at the start. It's going to make this a lot quicker. Well, we occupy quite a bit of the Peloponnese already, guys. I'm just seeing like how far we want to push this. I really do want to take as much land as possible in this war. Well, we may have attritioned this levy down a bit. Well, guys, this is what we're going to take. Taking ownership of half of the Peloponnese this early is very nice. It also means we never have to siege down these damn forts again. And guys, before we go any further, I just wanted to make a big shout out to ISP for inspiring this video. Bring back the rat. And all of the mod devs who've made these converters, guys, check the link in the description to show them some love and to find all of them. We're also getting an alliance with Epirus at this point because they have some pretty nice armies, honestly. We do have some pops over here that are not our culture now, Arcadian and Argolian, but we should be converting them relatively quickly because they're in our culture group. Oh man, the wars of the successors are going the way of the Seleucids, I would say. AI properly cosplaying Seleucus the First. Time to get onto Crete, my friends. First war wrapped up pretty quickly. And into the next one, boys. I'm not too sure whether we'll get a strong Rome in this one. It looks pretty messy over here. Well, there we go. A relatively easy war, my friends. And we're now a regional power. Nice. Fun does not stop on Crete. Let's keep going. There we go. Crete secured, my friends. And we did that for a very specific reason. The reason being, there is a lot of Cretan pops. And if we integrate them, we're going to have some pretty juicy levies from now on. I'm not really a fan of the Ptolemies influencing things over here, I'm not going to lie. And for our first tradition, let's go down towards siegecraft. Now, we're just going to get triumphal coins over here, giving us 5,000 manpower, which is pretty amazing. That is for some big wars that are going to be coming up. And now we've moved a few pops around, we can do this mission too. We've built a fort over here, allowing us to do fortify Kairanora over this way. And we're just going to delete it straight away. And there we go, boys. Now, Cretan is integrated. That should give us a bit of an advantage. Now let's use that advantage. And let's of course look at our glorious king, our first king in this campaign, Areus the First Agiad over here. He is a pretty good king overall. And I say Agiad because I don't want to say Argiad and be confused with someone famous from over here somewhere. We just have so many more troops than everyone over here now, guys. It's kind of crazy. And now we can do recruiting the Skiritai, giving some very good bonuses to our spearmen. Nice. There we go. More of the Peloponnese mopped up, my friends. That allows us to do the path to Olympia. Now it's time to get into the old enemy, Athens. The hardest thing about any mega campaign, guys, in my opinion anyway, is to not get too overpowered too early. I mean, we're only 30 years into the game and we've already got this. But yeah, if we really wanted to right now, we could go pretty ham. And there goes the city of Athens. Let the men roam freely. And we've done some province investments in Sparta, allowing us to do this, giving us free province investments. Okay. Thanks. That then allows us to do Spartan ports and also Spartan men. Because we are Sparta, of course. We are men, apparently. It's all for the abs, guys. All for the abs. And now let's do a Laconian strength over here, which is the final mission in this tree. And we get the second rise of Sparta now, which is some pretty nice bonuses overall. So now let's go for Protector of the Peloponnesus. Well, there goes Delphi and Thebes, two ancient centers of religion and civilization, now being given the Spartan treatment. Well, there we go. Athens is now ours. The old enemy is destroyed. And let's begin converting these pesky Athenians to a true manly culture. Well, it's time to get into Epirus. They do have a lot of influence over in Italia, but I think we should be okay over here on Greece. So, let's have a go, boys. We built a few buildings, allowing us to do rural Arcadia. This is definitely going to be rather a bigger war than we've seen before, guys. Oh, and I didn't realize Epirus actually owns land over here. We'll have to come and seize that for the greater Spartan Empire. Now we can get gradual economic integration, allowing us to build some grand theaters when we have a little bit of cash. And we're slowly but steadily pushing them back. We've occupied over here. And now we just need to come up the coast a little bit. I'm not bothered about going into Italy. Most certainly not. They're in a war with Rome at the minute as well. Well, you could say things are going rather well. We'll be out of this war pretty soon. Well, I think that's gonna be good enough, my friends. The only issue with this is we are definitely going to put ourselves in the firing line against Rome. But hopefully we'll be strong enough to deal with them when we get there, so let's see. And isn't that glorious, my friends? And we can liberate the Temple of Zeus, glorious, and straight away do the Priests of Zeus, which does release them as a feudatory, but that's okay. It's some extra troops for us. Let's attack Achaia. That's going to bring in Epirus again, but I'm not too bothered about fighting them. We just want to take Dyma over here. I'm going to dissolve my alliance with Aetolia because, of course, that's rightful Spartan clay. I mean, Epirus is now relegated to southern Italy. It'd be awesome if they survive that. It would also be awesome to see Carthage survive this whole time, see what would happen in CK3, but they look a little bit scrappy right now. And nice, now we can get Siegecraft. Well, there we go. Now we can clean up the Peloponnese properly. That allows us to do the northern coastline, my friends, and conquering the Peloponnesus. Ooh, and the Antigonid Revolt just fired. That is an opportunity for us, my friends. Because basically, at the moment, most of these boys down here are sort of, you know, subjects of either the Antigonids or the Ptolemies. So we were stuck a little bit, but I don't think we're stuck anymore. So let's declare for Corinth and let's get going. And our leader is now the Besieger. And this is great for us. The more land they take back off the revolt, the more land we can take in this war. Oh, level 3 fort. Never fun, especially on an island. Well, it actually fell pretty quickly, which is nice for us. Now we're just kind of waiting to make sure the Antigonids take a bit more of this land because we want it. And I was just looking at Oreos over here and I was like, Macedon? Where's Macedon? I don't see them anywhere. It turns out this is Macedon now. Doing a good job there, guys. And screw it, we're going across to Iolia because we do want that land eventually. We might as well take it now if we can. And while we're doing that, let's start this little war too. Well, at least we can peace out our former allies. Damn, we just lost a huge battle. That's okay though. We're pretty much at the point where we want to peace out now. Well, we've just done a couple of missions. This one gave us some assimilation speed up here, and now we can do rebuilding Argos 2. Very nice. And there it is, guys. 100 war score peace deal. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys are subjects, so you can't piece them out separately. So rather than taking the land, which is a lot of war score, what we've done is make them all into client states. Now, we're going to be over our diplomatic relations, I believe, by doing this, but it's okay. We're pretty strong now. I think we can handle it. Ah, and there we go. Look at that, boys. Very nice indeed. So let's make sure we keep all these guys happy. And remember, guys, if you are enjoying the start to our mega campaign as glorious Sparta, then please do consider liking and subscribing. We are only a very small channel, and every like and subscribe really does help us out. Let's now have a look at the world, though, and Rome is doing okay. Epirus still does exist, and Carthage is starting to mop up some of their subjects. Looks like the Brigandes are going to dominate Britain, same as Belgia over here, probably going to dominate Gaul. In terms of the rest of the world, we've got a big Armenia. We've got a horrific Seleucid Empire now. Well, Navy reacquired, and we are ready to take on Rhodes. So let's do that. The Seleucids, I don't think are going to be too much of a worry. And they also deleted their fort on Rhodes, which is very silly of them. And now we can get prescribed cannon, a very nice tech. And we've just got a lot of stability and influence like hanging around. So I think we'll go for cultural dissemination, which makes pop assimilation very quick. And we aren't going to integrate any more cultures, guys. We have, you know, a lot of Lacedaemonians and Cretans. I don't think we need any more integrated cultures. We've built a level 3 fort in Corinth, allowing us to do this. Some nice bonuses for the city. Honestly, it's going to cost us some money. And I think, yeah, we're over the fort infrastructure cost right now. But, yeah, I think we're going to keep it. It's cool, it's thematic, it makes sense. So let us finish these missions off, giving us some awesome bonuses to the Peloponnese. So let's move on to the second Peloponnesian League. I don't think this is going to flip us to a different tag in terms of our name, so that's a good thing. Let's go for that one first, and then go for Protector of Greece. Ah, and I just realized this is Seleucid Revolt and not Seleucid Empire. I was going to jump on here and see if we can take this land, but I guess not. And I just spotted this opportunity, because I don't think Macedon's doing too well over here. I mean, this mission tree is just insane. Like, look at the bonuses we get for everything. We're going to be so powerful on the Peloponnese. And there goes Epirus. F's in the chat, boys. Damn, we got pieced out of this war. So, yeah, we got a truce, and now we've got to fight Macedon again. Oh, that's a bit annoying. But at least we can now take Rhodes. And now we are a major power, my friends. The rise of Sparta is fast. Well, seeing as we couldn't fight Macedon, let's go and take these boys out. The Ptolemies are going to come into this, but generally they're pretty incompetent in coming across here. And a guy named Pyrrhos won the Olympics. Very nice. Ah, yes, and I forgot that they had this little piece of land across here, the Ptolemies. Well, I've moved a few pops around, allowing us to do Western capitals and getting those pretty amazing bonuses. And I've done the same thing for Eastern capitals too. And we've got a new king, Mr. Potatoes. Well, now we can get back into these little boys. And there we go. We can piece out the Ptolemies. Nice. And there we go. That allows us to do a liberation of Greece. And let's start integrating all of these little client boys. There goes Megara and Olympia now integrated into rightful Spartan clay. I mean, now we have a pretty large army, I've got to say, guys. So I think we're going to use it against the Antigonid revolt. So let's get into them. It looks like the Ptolemies are going to come in, but I think we'll be okay. They've been fighting this war for quite a while. Let's go for it. Let's, I don't know why we've got a claim on Bithynia over here, but it's okay. We'll take Amanthea instead. I mean, the Ptolemies have got a pretty fat navy over here, but yeah. As long as they're not carrying troops, everything's alright. And there goes the sacking of Pella. Let the men roam freely. And they have got some armies over here. They're just not as big as our boys. And now we can do Pearls of Greece, our last mission along this tree. Now, if we finish the missions, guys, we become the second Peloponnesian League. And I'm not bothered about doing that. I think we want Sparta to remain the whole way through the campaign. So we will abort the mission. However, we're going to do that once we've integrated these guys, because we've got a bit of a bonus to that from this mission tree. Well, I think we peace out for this, guys. It's getting incredibly messy over here in the east, so yeah, let's just get rid of that. And what do we do about Pella? Well, I think we'll have a sacking that would impress Alexander himself. Let's do that. I am, however, going to reform a new city, Spartopolis, over here. Hey, Seleucids, it looks like you're doing quite well in Anatolia. Let's see your homeland for a second. Yeah. Well, Mr. Potatoes has died, so now we have Areus II, who is a child, unfortunately. But he's a 10-year-old that knew more about the military than Mr. Potatoes, so... hopefully he's going to be a good ruler. Damn, and Rome is starting to really get the engines going. I think it's time we took a little expedition to Asia. Damn, what's happened to you, boy? You're already one-eyed. You're already a legend in my eyes, then. Or should I say my eye? And I think it might be the fact that he's been fighting battles. That's probably why he's one-eyed. What a boy, fighting battles at 14. And there we go, let's take Lycia over here. And finally, the Nesiotic League is done as well. So what we're going to do, we're not going to finish the missions so that we become the second Peloponnesian League. We're just going to abort them, and all those missions should be good still. Andy's come of age, which he's not the greatest guy in the world, but I already have him in my heart. Ooh, and shall we go for the Unholy Alliance? I think so, guys. That means we can actually use them against the Antigonid Kingdom, so let's go straight for that. They have a lot of vassals, as you can see, but they are very small ones over here mainly. And glorious Areus II will be leading the men once again. Well, there goes the capital. I mean, they've got a few troops, but it's nothing we can't handle. And they've thoroughly been mopped up from Europe over here. Hopefully the Romans do transfer this land across, otherwise... it's a bit of a waste of time. I mean, the main aim in this war is basically to cripple them, guys. And I think this will do exactly that. So, yeah, pretty nice peace deal overall. It's all going to us, none of it going to Rome. So let's take that. And look at that juicy name now. And we attacked Athens over here, whatever's left of Athens anyway. They brought in Macedon, but then Macedon itself has brought in the Seleucids. Oh, that's an interesting one. I feel like it'd be quite nice to take some of this land, though, although our aggressive expansion's a little bit high at the minute. Well, it turns out their troops are pretty weak. And now we're going to get temporary office, guys. Giving that threshold for civil war plus 5% basically means we're never going to have a civil war in the future. Well, I don't think we need to push our AE and our luck too far, guys. So this is what we're going to take. We're going to take that, and that. Well, I'm not gonna lie, this scares me somewhat. The Romans are getting pretty strong, but that is what we wanted from this. We don't want them to expand east. The east is the domain of Sparta. Well, technically, Rome grew too large for an alliance, but they have guaranteed us instead. And damn, Rome, that is some horrible borders, but... mark your territory, why don't you? Well, the Antigonids are at war with the Ptolemies right now, so I think it's time to go back into them. Looks like Byzantium took a little bit of territory, but yeah, oh no, they've got a truce over here. The problem is, Byzantium, as you can see, is allied with the Ptolemies, our new allies. So we're going to have to find a way around that at some point. In fact, let's do that now. So we're going to declare war on these guys. We're going to call in the Ptolemies. There we go. And then we're going to wait a month. We're going to declare war on these guys. And we have military access, so let's cancel the military access, and then we'll declare war on Byzantium. Well, there goes Byzantium, boys. Time now to get back into the Antigonids. We'll bring the Ptolemies in just for a bit of fun as well. And basically, we just want to clean up this area if we can. Maybe take a little bit more land over here. And it's a pretty scrappy war down here, to be honest with you guys. I mean, it's just down to the amount of forts. They've got so many forts. I don't know how they afforded all of those forts. Well, I think that is a juicy little peace deal. It is quite a bit of aggressive expansion again, but who really cares about that? And now we've got our little tendril coming into the Seleucid. Well, how you doing over there, Parthia? Not looking too good, are you, mate? And the same can be said for those Roman incursions into Gaul. But what is this Rome? Like, why? Like, please, why? Well, I think Rome's feeling a little bit poorly. Well, it's time to beat up the Seleucids once again. The Seleucids have got a little bit stronger by taking out the Parthians from their revolt over here, but this is a bit of a mess. I'm assuming their troops are just taking a while to get here. And there they are. By the way, we've now got forced march, so it should be a lot easier to catch some of these boys. Well, there we go. 70 aggressive expansion, which is quite a bit, my friends, but overall, a very nice victory for us. And our Spartan culture is going crazy right now. We've got 2,000 of the boys. That is amazing. And now we've got a new leader, Mr. Potatoes II. I think he really is interested in only one thing. Oh, look, guys. 2 Parthians. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, to make Imperial Sparta, we need 600 territories. At the moment, we have 415, so we need 200 more. So I'm thinking if we take all of Anatolia, kind of become the new Byzantines in the east, the Spartans, then maybe we can click that button, and that would be a good place to leave off for this episode. So let's see. And I mean, we were supposed to be doing these missions, guys, but I've just been building grand theaters everywhere, and they cost a lot of money, so that mission's gonna have to wait. And it's safe to say we've got a few levies in Greece now. Well, I was just about to declare war on Pontus, and I noticed they've got a lovely ally here. Who is this? Why, Pontus? Oh, that's why. What are you doing up here, Pontus? What are you doing up here? Well, that's them mopped up. Well, we just attacked Getia over here just to get a little bit more land. I think up to this river is absolutely fine. And then obviously the land in Anatolia too. So guys, new day, different shirt. Worse shirt to be fair. But we are back here with Sparta. And I've been having a look around and seeing what we want to do with this run. And I basically want to get to this Imperial Sparta point. And then we'll try and run through some years. Now, the problem is I don't think Christianity will spawn at all, because if we have a look at Judea over here, let's have a look. There's like hardly any Israelites left, and by the time we get to 0 AD, they'll probably all be gone, so there will be no spawning of Christianity. So maybe we'll just have a game without any Christianity at all, which will be pretty interesting, I've got to say. Now, you may notice this is slightly different. Well, I had a crash which corrupted my recording, so all I've done is just take this area, just took it in 2 wars pretty quickly. It took about 3 years of game time. Aggressive expansion has gone quite up, so we're just going to relax and fight the Seleucids in a little bit. Oh, and by the way, doing that did destroy Macedon for the final time. Very nice. Well, it's safe to say we have quite a lot of levies for a pretty small nation overall. Now, you may be wondering why I haven't got any legions, guys, and it's pretty simple. It's literally because we don't really need to. I'd rather have the money to build up the nation over here to convert these pops. So yeah, we may build a small legion though, literally just to build roads. Well, guys, let's get into the Seleucids one more time and see what happens. They don't have too many allies, so it should be rather easy. And overall, it's going pretty nicely. We're just smashing them back at all of the points. It's just hard to catch all these little armies everywhere. Well, there we go, guys. We did actually manage to come down and plonk on Seleucia, but a nice little victory nonetheless. Let's see how many territories we have after this. And oh my god, we've got exactly 600. Of course, I didn't plan that at all. And we can go Imperial Sparta straight away. Oh, yes. Come on. And now we are the Spartan Empire, boys. Very nice indeed. Well, Rome is not looking too healthy as well. And Sparta's pretty big now. We can make it into a metropolis. Nice. And we are going to go to Royal Guard to get a legion in the capital, basically just to build roads. Well, there we go. It's actually a fairly effective legion for a 20,000 size legion, but it shouldn't be too bad on the coffers. And we've got a new king, Magas. Pretty good name, if you ask me. And we've cleaned up Cyprus just for some nice clean borders. Well, it's safe to say we've built a pretty extensive road network. Finally, the Roman Civil War has ended, and it must have been a pretty bloody one, seeing as there's uncolonized land over here. Well, I think one more war against the Seleucids won't do us too much harm. And there we go. That's all we really wanted to take, just to clean up the borders a little bit. And now we are a big boy on the map. And there we go, guys. We have reached the end of the game. I know I've not shown anything, but there's been nothing to show really. Let's have a look at the map. If I press continue playing over here, there we are. We have remained the same size, but we have been slowly converting and building up our nation over here. I've literally churned through like 120 years, I think, guys, of gameplay, and I would go further if this was my job, but I already have 3 of those, so it's not possible, really. We probably will skip a little bit ahead into the CK3 video, but let's see how the converter will convert everything first. Now, in terms of the map, I didn't want to become the most powerful nation right away in the first video, guys, but we are actually the most powerful nation. We've got 1,000 more pops than Rome, and 2,000 more than the Ptolemies, and the sort of Magadha Empire, the Mauryans, a lot more than the Seleucids, although they have made a pretty nice comeback, and the Carthaginians as well. So let's have a look around at the map, and we of course do still have a Rome. Now, Rome was ahead of us, and I was hoping they would stay ahead of us for a while, but they've basically for the last 120 years been in multiple civil wars that have each lasted like 30 years or so, which has destroyed their population. You can see uncolonized land over here that was Roman, and pretty much destroyed their nation. They did own all of this at one point, but now they're kind of in 3 areas. We've got actual Rome proper, we've got Gaul Rome, and we've got Iberian Rome as well. Carthage does exist. Ptolemies, for some reason, have taken this land. So we've got a big Britain, a big Druidic Britain. We've got a massive Armorica over here, which is a Druidic Celtic nation. Rome versus Carthage is going to be a thing. We've got a monstrous Ptolemies, and even after destroying the Seleucids and them being destroyed by the Parthians, they have definitely made a comeback. Look at that. Look at that. I believe... okay, I thought some of these guys were their vassals, but apparently not. Apparently not. They are just in the middle of their land, but they have made a pretty big comeback. Over in the east, we have the big Magadha Empire, and we've got Chola as well. This is rather a mess. Persis is all the way in the north. They are the only Zoroastrian nation left, I believe, unless there's anyone else. Oh, there is a couple of other Zoroastrian nations, but let's have a look at the religion. It is pretty much all Hellenic in the eastern side of the Mediterranean and Babylonia, and all the way down into Egypt as well. There is still some large pockets of Kemetic. Arabic obviously dominates in Arabia. Zoroastrian does survive, not very well though, and Armenian religion is over here too. Druidic has been very powerful in the west, as you can see with Armorica and the Britons over this way. Tuistic still exists, and Wera exists as well. Canaanite, obviously, for the Carthaginians, which is pretty awesome to see, I'm not going to lie. And then across here, we've got Vedic and Agamic as well, and then some other smaller religions around as well. Pretty good mix, I've got to say, going into the next game. Now, in terms of Christianity, guys, I don't believe it would be thematically correct to make Christianity into a thing, because if we have a look here, there's 5 Israelite pops. There's about, I've gone around these places, I've counted up, and there is probably less than 10 Israelite pops left in the whole world. So we're going to have a pagan world apart from Zoroastrian into the next games, and it's something different, isn't it, guys? I think it should be fun, unless the converter does add it in. I'm wondering if they add Islam, but we'll see about that. Let's now have a look at the cultures, because this is obviously going to be pretty important when we get into CK3. And as you can see, we are squarely Lacedaemonian, which is Spartan culture, of course. Cretan does dominate on Crete. That is the only culture we integrated the whole game, and therefore they have survived. In terms of Macedonian, it is all but wiped out across the world, even though the Ptolemies are still Macedonian and the Seleucids are still Macedonian. They've not been converting too well, I've got to say. So we've got a lot of Assyrian, Babylonian, Armenian. There's still a lot of Persian pops over here in the east. Roman dominates on Italy, as you might expect, but they do have pockets everywhere else in the world. And Armorican is a big population as well. Brigantic, of course, in the British Isles, because it is Brigantes that unified them over there. And then, as you can see, Punic is still around and kicking guys, which is pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. So I am very excited to get into CK3. I hope you have enjoyed this first video. I'm not 100% certain what we're going to be doing in CK3. What I do know, though, is we're going to look west, and I want to take some land over here for our expansion in EU4, shall we say. So, yeah, we might island hop west, going to war with Rome, all that sort of thing. So let's see. CK3, everyone's favourite relationship simulator. And we are back with our mega campaign, guys. Last time, taking Sparta to new heights in Imperator Rome. Right, guys, are you ready for the big reveal? Let's have a look at what the world has in store for us. And there we go. Honestly, it's not looking too bad, apart from, obviously, Rome. We, of course, are over here, the great empire of Sparta. Unfortunately, it moved our capital to Naxos, and not the barony of Lacedaemonia, because it's a secondary barony. So, I guess we rule from the island of Naxos now. Of course, the Ptolemies and the Seleucids do still exist, which is, interesting at this point. And the Seleucids did retain the Seleucid dynasty, which is pretty cool, apart from their motto. But the Ptolemies have an imposter. Of course, Rome and Carthage do both still exist. We have the Holy Empire of Rome and the Most Serene Republic of Carthage. And of course, in the north, we have some big Celtic powers, Armorica and Brigantia. The north of India is still ruled by the Mauryans, which is, pretty good. And I'm not sure about that house motto either. What is going on over here? In terms of religion, Hellenic is pretty dominant in the east of the Med. Of course, we are Hellenic as well. We do have a heresy inside us, though, which is interesting. And there is 2 Zoroastrian religions over here. So I think that is the only monotheistic religion that exists at the moment. But all of the religious wars are going to be taking place in West Europe, because there's about 4 different Celtic Druidic religions. We've got Celtiberian Druidism, Gallic Druidism, Druidic Druidism, and Brythonic Druidism. Lots of Celtic religions. Of course, the Norse and the Mongols will still exist because they're not really factored into Imperator Rome. Culture-wise, it is pretty messy, but the main thing is the fact that our nation is pretty much all Greek, which is fantastic. And we've got Basilius Marcos over here, who's chaste, diligent, arrogant, astute intellectual, whole of body, and a scholar. And I tell you, he's going to need that whole of body because he's 83 with no children. In fact, all our dynasty is pretty old and none of them have any children whatsoever. Also noticing a theme with the way they look, guys. And of course, in today's video, the main aim is to grow our dynasty, have a bit of fun, and also get a little bit of land in the west for EU4. Now, we did skip ahead a little bit to 500 AD, so we've got to imagine that the Dark Ages in this timeline was a pretty peaceful time. First things first, let's find a wife. Well, because of the fact that we are chaste, we are going to find someone that is lustful, so let's go for Geduda over here, a megalithic woman. We do have a load of renown, so we're going to get bounteous loins for that fertility, and then we're going to get noble veins as well. Lifestyle-wise, we have whole of body already, which is great for our health, but honestly, I think we need a little bit of extra stewardship because we've got a few holdings. Development-wise, I'd say we're doing pretty good. And we've created a couple of extra kingdoms, the Despotate of Crete and the Despotate of Epirus, apparently, which is literally only Kefalonia and Corfu, so, yeah, and basically we're down to 8. I'm happy to hold on to 8 holdings now. Remember, guys, all of the converters will be down in the description below. Go and show them some love. And it's done a pretty good job with kingdom titles, I would say, overall. Apart from the de jure kingdom of the Ptolemies, like, that is so big. And oh my god, how good is it to see the Spartan banner in the Middle Ages, boys. Right then, let's press play and hope that we don't die. And we are going to go straight for a grand wedding. And of course, it's going to be as lavish as possible. We do have the money. Well, poor 18-year-old Geduda has become soulmates with us at, 84. Love is blind. And there we go. Some nice prestige and piety and legitimacy. Please be pregnant. Please be pregnant. Please be pregnant. Ah! And yes, come on. Come on, fantastic. I mean, it does mean we're probably going to have a child emperor, but when has that ever worked out badly for a nation in this region? And we used quite a bit of money to start building in all of our places. And we've got a quick son. I think there's only one thing we can call him. And literally, as soon as we got our son, we become infirm. Oh no. And now the only Agiads left in the world is us and our son. Oh no. And damn, we had another son. Awesome. And obviously, there's only one name for him as well, Mr. Potatoes. Let's start trying to get rid of some of this heresy. And I think we'll also try and reform the faith as well with our next ruler. And another son. I'm sure that's not going to cause any problems. And we got the nickname The Old. I mean, it's understandable, isn't it? And damn, we are still going at nearly 90 years old. Let's name you after your mother. And there we go. We have died at the age of 90. A 5-year-old is going onto the throne. At least we have a few more dynasty members now. But Arius III, I can't think of a better king to lead us into the future. God damn it, at least we have like primogeniture, jeez. But I keep seeing pop-ups that the Seleucids are raiding us. I didn't know that these guys we can raid. I don't know where that comes from. Like the Seleucids are Macedonian and I don't see anything in here that allows them to raid. And he's Hellenic as well and I don't know where there's anything in here that allows you to raid either, but someone let me know down in the comments. I think we get married to this Scordiscian intelligent woman. And what would you know, guys? The Kingdom of Scotland exists in this campaign on the Isle of Man. Great. And oh my god, I have found a monotheist over here. That's crazy. Where did you come from, my friend? Where did you come from? And everyone wants a few captives from Carthage, it seems. And we have come of age, guys. We were shaping up to be a fantastic character, ambitious, diligent, and paranoid. Not great for the stress gain, mind you, but we became an indulgent wastrel. Why? No. And honestly, I may have stacked a bit too much stress gain here because every single event is 90 stress. I mean, let's start the genealogy of Arius over here. I mean, we got so much money right now, we might as well. We're also just going to keep going on loads of pilgrimages, guys, because I want to reform the religion. Let's have our own grand marriage on Naxos. And just look at the stress, guys. 188 stress here, 94 stress either way. At least the wedding got rid of some of our stress. And there we go, our first child is on the way. Well, our regent actually did something good, making us get limited crown authority. Thank you, regent. You're pretty entrenched right now. We need to get rid of that. Especially seeing as your aptitude is pretty terrible. And we had some twins, both of them intelligent. Very nice. I think that is the best name for them. Well, it didn't take long for Carthage to explode. And what manner of parents were you spawned from, Archidamos? And one of our kings has decided to convert to Zoroastrian. Please, no, my friend. Now we can complete our legend. It doesn't really give us that much, honestly, apart from some legitimacy. To be fair, though, that is a good book. And by the way, I forgot to say that Rome is actually a Grand Republic as well. Like, they have a lowborn in charge now. Fair enough. I mean, he's not even got a house, so, yeah, that's pretty cool. And we also became a wise man on one of our pilgrimage, which is, pretty good. Man, this guy managed to convert everywhere so quickly. How did he do that? It's literally been a couple of years, man. And our sister can marry the, Serene Doge of Bavaria. The Hellenic Roman Serene Doge of Bavaria, mind you. Well, let's build our legendary palace. Well, I think it might be time to start wandering west, so I think we can just get into these boys up here. And damn, just as soon as we did that, we got a Liberty faction war. Great. And it looks like we're fighting quite a few people, I'm not gonna lie. Well, at least we can win this little war. I mean, it's safe to say this war is not going that well, my friends. Well, I think it's time to call in the Serene Doge of Bavaria. Well, there we go. Our crown authority is back down to low. Well, I think we take our anger out on the remnants of the Carthaginians. And that was easy enough. And why do we own this over here? Like, who owns this? You own this? How? What's happening? And oh dear, our friend, did this to themselves. Now we are totally broken by stress. We're also facing a myriad of wars. And our great son, Leonidas, has come of age and he is a grey eminence. Awesome. For some reason, my land keeps getting converted to Zoroastrian, so we need to reform the faith soon. Well, that's a few of the wars done, guys, but it's just funny, isn't it, how we go from a realm in Imperator Rome that was incredibly stable, that had 200,000 troops, and now we have 3,000. And as might be expected, guys, we died from stress. I thought you were going to be the good king, Arius, but I guess it has to be Leonidas. And of course, while we're trying to mourn our father, you're going to declare war on us, aren't you? And look how many of my vassals are involved in this. Great. Hopefully we can behead them all. Ah, and we had a genius son. Fantastic. And how did I know you were going to be a good king, Leonidas? Oh. Well, I think we're going to be remaking the realm a little bit. Well, looks like the Seleucids are no more. I'm not sure whether that's an ominous perk or not for us. And our heir, Alexios, has come of age. He's only a tough soldier, but he's got pretty good traits overall. Finally, we've had some form of stability, guys. I've not had a war for a while, mainly due to the fact that we have a ordained ruler. But it's safe to say the Seleucids didn't last too long, although they still have some dynasty members left over here. So we've now taken Sevilla and the Canaries over here. That's about as west as we want to go. I wouldn't mind cleaning up some more of North Africa, but the Ptolemies are going to be a hard nut to crack, honestly. And I'm not attacking any of the remnants of the Seleucids because we need that piety to reform the faith. And I think it's time, guys, to reform the faith over here. First things first, of course, we're going lay clergy and temporal head of faith, making us the head of faith. I've also changed from pluralist to righteous, allowing us to revoke titles from evil infidels. Everything else is pretty darn good, honestly. It's nothing we want to change. And we're going to keep esotericism and we're going to keep communal identity as well. But we are going to change to a more Spartan way of life, which is gruesome festivals. So let's go, guys. Most of our vassals will go with us. And there we go. Not too many counties went with us, but hopefully we can do a little bit to resolve that. Damn, look at that time now. 2 years? It was like 15 years before with the 25 learning guy. The world will see that Zeus favors us. We've also now finished the blood legacies as well. Pretty nice. Now I think all of our vassals are actually Hellenic now. Nice. Being reformed, though, does mean that it's going to be a lot harder to conquer more land, but good job we kind of have the land that we want now. In terms of the rest of the world, Britannia is still going strong. Rome still exists in its 3 interesting slots. Marcomannia, or Germany, is pretty scary. Same as Slavia, even though they are in a few wars. Of course, the Ptolemies still do exist, and the Mauryans have died for the Laharids. And damn, we have died. The greatest leader our nation has ever seen since the old days of Leonidas. But of course, this Leonidas was very good as well. Leonidas the good, you might say. To be fair, Alexios is pretty darn good. But now we've kind of got as far as we want to in terms of land in CK3, guys, so we're going to churn through a few years because I've been playing for 4 hours and not even played 100 years. I think something's gone a little bit wrong, guys. It's like we've got primogeniture, and we have done since the start. It converted us to have that straight away. And this is our oldest son, who is our dynasty. But he's not our heir. Apparently it's his baby. Am I missing something? Like, what's going on? And it looks like the Supreme Republic of Rome is no more, my friends. Oh, that is cursed. I think you're getting a little bit too big for your boots, Ptolemies, over there, boys. And it's one of those phases of the game again. Well, Demetrios, what have you been up to over there? Not exactly the best guy to have in a faction against you. And damn, the melee reformation as well, which is these boys up here, the steppe boys. You might say it's a bit of a sexy religion. And that's what we like to see. Look at that Germania. And I was praying that Alexios would hang on until his son came of age, but I guess not. I mean, honestly, he has decent traits, but he is the child of a concubine. And that is not a law-appropriate name, my friend. And things are looking good in France. I mean, why is there a Lusitanian here? That's the tribe from down here. I don't know how they got here. Well, it's time to get rid of our scheming uncle on Crete. I mean, someone with the nickname The Accursed shouldn't be ruling these lands. Oh, and it begins. And we are now of age, and we're not that good. Well, that's who we're at war with. Basically, our whole realm. Oh, now another one. Oh. And this is what's happened, guys. We've, I suppose survive succession, kind of. We've lost half of our North African stuff. I mean, I'm not really bothered as long as we have the coast up here and the islands down here. Alright, let's just take our anger out on executing a few people. Sorry, guys. Well, I'm not sorry, actually. I'm happy that this is happening. I think, honestly, characters from now on should just all be intrigue. And again... Well, they've got 15,000 troops, guys, so I think we need to surrender. And now we're a vassal. Well, we can be the one to be a dickhead. And who would have guessed it? She's ruling from Constantinople. Are you joking? Like, literally, even being a fucking king, we still are having claimant factions. Well, let's press our demands over here, and let's see what happens. There's already a few wars going on for her now. Damn, we imprisoned her over here as well. Now, let's enforce demands. That does bring us into 2 wars straight away. And we're back. Right, time to sort out the realm. I think what we'll do, guys, is move our capital to Lacedaemonia, as it should be the capital anyway. Basically because Naxos, although we do have this legendary palace, it's pretty good, is causing a lot of issues with vassals over here. They're not very happy. Is this a bad idea, guys? Let's do it. Oh, damn, we got a Prussia over 1,000 years early. Honestly, what I would give to be on Britain right now. Please, please. Nice, stable realm, please. And this definitely was a mistake because it now goes to Confederate partition with the co-monarch, which, yeah, it's not good. I mean, it makes sense. It's not primogeniture anymore, is it? And Sabas has died, the one that lost the crown and brought it back into our reach. Now we are Damianos, who is pretty good, as you can see, but we did lose a bit of land. Well, I think there's only one thing to do, and that's to denounce him and then try and imprison him. Well, Uncle, you are in prison now, but unfortunately we can't revoke his titles because, someone else is trying to take it. I think starting in 500 may have been a bit of a mistake, guys. I think I'm going, slightly mad here. I've played for 8 hours and it's only 668. Oh, well, I think it's time to churn through some years. Hopefully, we shall see. And this plot may have been a mistake. Oh, no. At this point, I just feel like we are cosplaying the Byzantines right now. It's absolute chaos. We did just get Divine Mandate, which I'm not sure whether that's going to work or not. Well, we've tried diplomacy to keep our nation together. I think now the only thing to do is to try violence. And violence seems to be the answer, boys. Well, that's an interesting development. Where did you come from? Well, 700 AD is here, and the world is looking interesting, shall we say. Also, my good son was murdered, so now we have a learning son. There's not going to be any factions when you take charge, is there, son? Well, seeing as we're already on Confederate partition, I don't see a problem with making one of our other sons a co-monarch with a bit better traits for keeping the factions in check. And there we go, Damianos the Wolf has died, unfortunately. He was a pretty good character overall, not too many factions, so let's see how Paschalis does. Well, I guess that's a good start. Well, there's only been about 5 factions this time, guys, so it's time to remake the realm once again. And of course, when we were having a little bit of peace, we've been murdered. Oh my god. This is just insane, man. This is the true cosplay of the Byzantine Empire if it was Spartan. Oh my god. Well, at least we've got High Priest Eusebios over here, who is pretty darn good, honestly. Luckily, we only had like one brother, so there shouldn't be too many claimant factions. In terms of the rest of the world, guys, Catholicism is spreading. There are some realms that are actually Catholic now, which is pretty cool. You can see Hellenic has spread quite a bit through the lands. In fact, past our own lands, these boys are now Hellenic too. In terms of culture as well, Greek is still going pretty darn strong. The rest of the world, I'm just going to ignore. It's horrible. I mean, the people that split out of the Romans are still around, which is pretty cool. We've got a Roman Bavaria, a Roman Magna Graecia, which is basically Italia, obviously. We got Burgundy as well. There's Gallic over here. And Britannia, as always, is going very strong indeed. One of the coolest things is that Canaanite still exists over here, so the Carthaginians have just migrated. Honestly, one of the most cursed things is the fact that Catholicism originated and spread from the Norse lands. Well, that's certainly a bit of a throwback. But I'll tell you what, intrigue is working pretty well. I mean, basically, we're just getting factions, and then we just murder the members of the factions. I think that's the way to go from now on. Well, we've done Guardian of the Hellenic Holy Site over here, so let's complete that, and that will allow us to evangelize to the realm. Let's have a look at what we have. We are pretty Hellenic already, but let's see what happens when we evangelize to the realm. And there we go. Look at that. Loads of the land has become Hellenic. Very nice indeed. And Eusebius the Requiem has been a pretty awesome leader, I'm not gonna lie. We have retaken Carthage because they became independent. We've retaken these islands over here. We've taken a little bit of land up there. We've converted much of our population too. All of our vassals are expanding, as you can see, quite a bit. But now we can consecrate the bloodline. Nice. He gains the trait, the Savior. Perform the final rites. And he gets the name, the Divine. What an absolute boy. I mean, he's been divinely killing anyone that's joined a faction. But I guess not everyone knows that. And we just switched across to an administrative government. So now we have an estate, which is pretty cool because this is going to allow us to actually have a good army. And that gives us acclamation succession, which is actually a lot better than Confederate partition. Means we're not going to lose titles when we die. And there we go, Eusebius has died, taking us over 800 AD. He reigned for 70 years, which is pretty amazing. So now we've got High Priest Aristarchus over here. He is not great, but he's okay, really. He's okay. In terms of the rest of the world, we have a pretty messy world, as you might expect. The Hellenistic Empire still exists, and that is one Hellenic headwear you've got there, my friend. Iberia seems to be pretty much stable. Germania is just constantly going from Germania to Marcomania, all that sort of thing. Ironically enough, like, Catholic is still doing pretty decently, honestly. And I have no idea how this works, but for some reason, like, all of these people over here are all now republics underneath us. What? Like, what? How does that work? These guys the same as well. What about these boys? No, they're not. I don't really know how that works at all. And Slavia has pretty much died, as you can see, but there's some weird succession going on over here. Like, why? Why, game? Oh dear. Well, you remember in Imperator Rome when Pontus decided to migrate into the north? They're back, boys. They're back. And they're Slavic. Maybe this administrative government thing was a little bit of a mistake again. We keep making mistakes. Because basically it means that people outside our dynasty can become the leader of the empire, which is not acceptable in my opinion. But the interesting thing that is happening is that there is a crusade, my friends. I was certainly not expecting a crusade in this timeline. And the Catholics actually won. That is a bit of a shame. That is now a new Catholic kingdom that is Sami. Okay. I'm basically at the point now where if anyone declares war on us in the east over here, I'm just surrendering because I don't want this land when we get to EU4. Oh, and by the way, between the consecrated bloodline guy and some of these less good rulers, we have become a cadet branch, but I just changed the name to Argyad. It's a cadet branch anyway, and we're still on the throne of Sparta, which is the main thing. Wow. Things are looking culturally homogenous. Ah, Italy. Back to the good old days, I see. Oh, and by the way, guys, we've gone past the first start date of the game. And this administrative government thing is pretty good. It's quite fun. But titles are basically like water slipping through your fingers. So titles are pretty crazy when you do this government form. And in terms of securing your titles, if you just murder everyone that's in the line of succession before your candidate, you know, who's going to say no to your candidate? Here is the rest of the world at nearly 900 AD. And as you can see, the only really stable entities out there are the Hellenistic Empire, Sparta, us, of course, and Britannia. Everywhere else is pretty dynamic right now, apart from Iberia. For some reason, Iberia has been a triumvirate of nations for a very, very long time, and they've just sort of kept these borders, which is kind of interesting. Well, we are exactly 1,000 years after the birth of someone we've never heard of. Apparently he was some French guy who turned water into wine and stones into baguettes. But surprisingly, we've had a pretty stable run of late. We did go back to feudalism just because I wanted to make sure we didn't get screwed in the converter. And as you can see, our vassals have been disgustingly busy. They've also decided to eat disunified Italy as well, take parts of Spain, take North Africa, but I think we'll do a little bit of modification when we get into EU4. In terms of land, we've taken way more than I kind of wanted to in CK3. I wanted to keep quite consolidated, but I don't mind this at all. And like I say, we've taken the areas that we do want for EU4. And our main aim today was to make the Argead dynasty one of the greatest dynasties in the world, and I think we have definitely done that. We've now got 228 living members from that 3 ancient blokes we had at the start of the game, which is pretty insane. 31 houses of Argeads around the place now. And we have had some glorious leaders. This guy's only been in charge for 6 years, so he's not really been able to do much. We have had some glorious leaders in this time, guys. We did have to install this boy back in charge by faction demand after Apollonius beat us in succession over here. But apart from that, everyone else has been an Argead. And as you can see, we definitely went the intrigue route more recently. But we did have some glorious kings like Eusebius the Divine, who ruled for 70 years. And of course, other such famous names such as Damianos the Wolf. And who can forget Leonidas the Good? And of course, we go all the way back to Basilius Arius I, the Vanquisher from Imperator Rome. A very fun run so far, I've got to say. And the Ptolemies returned for a little while, but now they are back to the Hellenistic Empire. And to be honest, guys, I am not scared of the Hellenistic Empire, but that thing absolutely terrifies me. I have just been churning through years, as you can probably tell from our money. The thing is, though, there hasn't been anything to spend our money on at all, because we don't have the sort of innovations to get this going. But the main thing is, we did retain the Argead dynasty, even though it is a cadet branch, and we retained our capital in Lacedaemonia. And to be fair, not a huge amount has really happened. It's just been sort of trading things. Slavia obviously completely died. And of course, Rome and Carthage are no more, but their offspring are definitely around. As you can see, we still have Punic culture over here. We've got Ibero-Roman and Gallo-Roman too. But it's safe to say the Celtic peoples have kind of won out. We have the Belgae up here. We've got the Brethono-Quercan. The Galicians are Bretons for some reason. And Iberia is Puno-Celtiberian. And the Germans are Germanic still. In terms of the stable areas, you know, Sparta, Hellenistic Empire have kind of been stable. Over here has been relatively stable, but now we're down from 3 to 2 nations instead. Of course, France is very interesting with Lotharingia and Aquitaine. And Alba over here, that was Britain, has not really been doing much and just staying on its island. Some things never change. But they did do one bit of cheeky expansion. Welcome to Finland. In terms of the east, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a mess, boys. And there is still some Macedonian pops with the Syro-Macedonians in Baghdad. Let's have a look at our cultures, guys. And as you can see, we are pretty much the only homogenous culture group in the world. Everywhere else is absolutely disgusting. I mean, up here in the north, we do have a pretty homogenous culture in the steppe. But the great nation nation of Ob. We still have Bactrian, which is pretty awesome. And ancient Egyptian. It's not so ancient anymore. In terms of religion, guys, we are pretty dominant in terms of Hellenic. But one tiny bit of Canaanite survived all this way. I am proud of those boys. Of course, the Norse is pretty much all gone because they became Catholic and converted France, of all places. And in Britain, we have the Brython heathens. Okay, fantastic. Kind of strange, honestly, like how when I saw this at the start, I thought that the wars of religion would be massive between all the Celtic groups, but they're all kind of split now. Like, we've got the British one over there on their island, the Celtiberians have just become a thing over here, and Germania's just remained Druidic, so they really didn't fight that much. Catholic has kind of been like stuck in the middle of them. Of course, much of the east of the Mediterranean is old Hellenic still. They never converted to our religion. There's also been a hugely expansive Hinduism where basically Persia is now Hindu as well. But saying that, Zoroastrian still survives. What a resilient faith through this game it's been. Oh, and by the way, the Christians got a heresy, the Waldensians pop up, but they got squashed pretty quickly. And the third monotheistic group that does exist is Ibadi over here. I don't think they're going to survive too long in EU4. But overall, though, it's been a very, very painful game, and I have enjoyed expanding Sparta. I really didn't want to expand east, but tell my vassals that. I wanted to just chill out over here. The key thing, though, is that we have the Balearics, we have North Africa here, and we have the islands over here that are going to be incredibly useful for what we're going to be doing in EU4. Overall, though, guys, that was very chaotic, but pretty fun in the end. I hope you did enjoy the video. I definitely wasn't crying into my keyboard for half of the campaign, but if you have enjoyed and found this entertaining, guys, a like and a subscribe would be massively appreciated. It really does help the channel out with being such a small channel. Here we are in our mega campaign as Sparta, guys, in EU4. And God, am I glad to see you, my friend. No more claimant faction wars in this one. And the world is looking rather interesting. Let's just ignore whatever's happening to the Hellenistic Empire for a second. But as you can see, the converter's done a great job in converting this whole world. I think the most interesting thing about this game and how it's going to go is that some nations will actually have their mission trees, I believe, like Andalusia over here, Novgorod and Sweden as well. And this is how it's done religion, guys. We can see a pretty large Catholicism as we expect. Our religion, Hellenic, is pretty much dominating over here in the east of the Mediterranean and around the Black Sea. And the three Celtic religions have been converted across as well: Brython, Druidism, and Celtiberian. In terms of Islam, we do still have Ibadi over here, but that is pretty much it. Sunni still exists in the nations that are Sunni at the start of the game that aren't in CK3, so over here in Kilwa, and that is it. And I've got to say, Hinduism has been pretty strong. Look how far across they have got. They've even got into Arabia and East Africa. And I mean, that has to be one of the most cursed things I've ever seen. Cultures-wise, it is absolutely disgusting, as you might expect. And it's good to see ancient Egyptian now isn't so ancient, it's just old Egyptian. And interestingly enough, we still have Carthaginian culture around in 1444. Roman, though, is pretty much dead. Well, here we are in game, guys, and there's a couple of little changes that have been made. In the intervening years between CK3 and EU4, King Belisarius II decided to cede land to Timarchia and Bithynia over here, realizing a expansionist threat from Germania, basically setting up Hellenic buffer states between us and large Germania. And in the west, due to popular Celtic uprisings, land was lost to Cerdana over here. But what are we going to be doing in EU4 today, guys? Well, after many years of strife and struggle in Europe, most notably around succession, we are kind of done with the shores of Europe, and we are looking further afield. To the west, in places such as the Azores, which we own, but we don't know where it is. We already are the #1 ranked power in the world, so in terms of European stuff, basically we're just going to start a little bit of a coalition to try and stop crazy expansionist Germania. Now, this might be relatively easy in the west, but there is no strong power in the east, so I wouldn't be surprised if Germania just takes all of this land. And in terms of our own expansion in Europe, guys, I'm going to limit us to the Genoa trade node, the Valencia trade node, and the Sevilla trade node, but we won't take northern Spain if we can help it. We basically just want to be able to filter our trade into Genoa once we have a bit of an offshore empire, shall we say. In terms of our rivals, we are going to go Germania straight away. We're also going to go Hellenistic Empire, and I suppose we'll put Britain, because maybe they'll be the colonial rival. We're also going to ally Timarchia and Bithynia as well. We're also going to get working on an alliance with Lotharingia. We can take our single mission Pagan Fury guys over here, giving morale of armies until the end of the game, which is pretty good. And I can't tell you how tempting it is to press this button, guys. This would basically be an invitation to an extremely easy world conquest with the Byzantine missions, but no, we are remaining Sparta. Well, let's ally with Cardania. So we've done the estate setup, guys. Pretty simple overall. I don't want the estates getting too influential early on. We've also had to get rid of half our forts because our fort maintenance was like 45. Now it's down to 20, which is still quite a bit for this part of the game. Well then, guys, that is pretty much the setup that we want to do. So let's press play and let's get going. There goes Lotharingia for an alliance. Oh, and by the way, there's also Venice here, which is pretty funny. And that is a great general to roll straight away. I didn't even realize this, but Andalusia is a vassal under Iberia, so honestly, I don't think that's gonna last too long. Well, let's get into the Hellenistic Empire right away for the land over in North Africa. Like, we don't want anything else other than that, but this should be a pretty big war. Well, there we go, guys. There's the peace deal. We're just taking this little bit of land. Literally, all of the Hellenistic Empire's troops just came into the Maghreb here for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, all we want to do is just take that land. So let's take it. And by the way, guys, of course, there is no HRE. I just didn't think it would thematically make sense, seeing as there wasn't really ever a true Roman Empire, not one that lasted for too long anyway. And our heir died, giving us a very Spartan air, as you can see. So we've cleaned up quite a bit of the east, guys, wiping out the small boys that were sort of in the middle, including Venice, Genoa, Sardinia as well. So we pretty much own most of the Genoa trade node now. Now, obviously, we haven't gone far in the game, so I don't want to expand too quickly, but I do want to take Sevilla early on so that we can start bringing our trade through to Genoa and make Genoa our main trade hub. And I was just putting some claims on Sardinia over here, and I noticed that Britain has claims here, so Alba definitely has their mission tree. That could make them pretty OP if they decide to go colonial. And first idea group, guys, of course we are going exploration. These lands in Europe are no longer of interest to us. What is west of Europe? Is it the east? Nobody knows. Not yet, anyway. And now we can see that this piece of land that we own over here in West Africa is completely landlocked. And there goes our first colonist. Very nice. And honestly, guys, I know it's not the meta, but I can't be bothered having armies all around the world, so we're just going to go for coexistence policy. And for some reason, we can get Portuguese colonial growth in the age abilities. Well, I think we'll get that. And let's get our very first colony in Cape Verde. Looks like Guerrero and Iberia are having a bit of a ding-dong, so let's get our ding-dong involved. And the instability of CK3 seems to have translated across, guys. Well, there goes our first king, and now we have Eusebius II, a Giad over here. He did have an event to lose traits, so yeah, he's a very Spartan boy, isn't he? First government reform time, guys, and of course we're going to strengthen noble privileges. Well, a peace deal with Iberia over here. It's quite a bit of aggressive expansion, but there's only Iberia that will come into a coalition, so no problem. In terms of any more expansion over here, I think we'll take Tangiers and Saleh as well, but overall, I don't think we want to take too much more because we would just become so powerful. Because remember, guys, we are not metagaming. We probably could world conquest if we were metagaming, but yeah, we'd get a little bit too powerful, I think, quickly if we took more of Sevilla. So Tangiers and Salé is good for me. I mean, ultimately, we'll be able to pull a lot of trade through with our ships anyway. Well, now we need to basically piece our country together because we've had a few rebel problems. Some things never change, guys. Oh, and I forgot to show off our ideas, guys. We do just get Greek ideas, which is, okay. Like, our starter traditions are pretty terrible, but that CCR is quite good at the end. We have a Greek Orthodox faith as well at the start. Not sure that's too relevant anymore. Navy tradition, which is terrible. A bit more of a Spartan tradition next, though, which is good. Advisor cost is okay. Trade efficiency is good. And the Diplo rep and relations is okay, with a finisher of idea cost, which is decent as well. Well, Cap Verde is nearly done, guys, so we are going to get across to Brazil over here. And one thing that's going to be pretty interesting for the colonizers is the fact that all of the West African coast is colonized already. So places like Galicia and Britain are going to have to find alternate routes across to the New World. Honestly, I'm going to give this province away. It's kind of stupid. Why do we own this? Well, it's time to chill out, take out some rebels, and try and sort our economy out because it's not looking too good right now. Tamarkia is attacking into the steppe right now. I wish we could help you out, buddy, but we've got a few rebel problems we need to deal with first. And Renaissance did spawn in us, so that is one good thing for us. And for our next age ability, let's go colony development boost. And there goes Tamarkia. Outa boy, nice. We are going to clean up Turinia over here, basically because Lotharingia was taking them out piece by piece, and I don't want to have to fight Lotharingia. They're going to be our nice ally. As satisfying as it is to press the decrease autonomy button, guys, I wish there was a button to just do all. Like, come on, Paradox, please. And as I'm recording this, the CK3 video has just released, and you guys seem to be enjoying it. So if you do enjoy this one as well, make sure you do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And of course, it goes without saying, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas if you celebrate it. Damn, Galicia got hands. And there we go, we've taken Tangiers, Salé, and Huelva. Now, I promise no more expansion in Europe, guys. However, we are going to be keeping a very keen eye north because Germania seems to be doing something that they weren't able to do in real life. And we're also going to build up Dardania, what used to be called Kosovo. And then we're going to move our trade capital across to Genoa because Ragusa as our end node is not very good. And it's not like the eastern trade is a problem because we can filter from Ragusa straight to Genoa. And now we can see quite a lot of the New World, and we're pretty sure that this isn't actually India. And Greek separatists have risen up in Toulon. And yeah, this is the glorious nation of Muscovy. I just found something amazing, guys. Like, the Etruscan League has cause down here. So the Etruscans technically have survived all this way, kind of, which is pretty cool, I've got to say. And Tamarkia keeps on growing. Very nice. And by order of Eusebios II Agiad, Tamarkia has been granted land in the north of the Caucasus after their successful campaigns against the heathens in the northeast. Now, our money situation is getting better, but it's not great, especially with that interest, guys. So we're going to make money in the old-fashioned Spartan way, and that is attacking Germania. We're just going to go for humiliate rival, and we're going to bring in all of the boys. This should be a nice little fun war. So far, we've fought them once and lost, but it looks like Lotharingia is doing a pretty decent job, I'm not gonna lie. And there goes their capital. Very nice. Well, there we go. With all our allies, it was a little bit of a breeze, to be fair, but I think Germania is just only gonna get stronger going through the game, especially in the east. We get about 500 gold from this, and we get war reps, and we humiliate for that PP, so very nice. Oh, and we just ticked positive in income, guys. 0.43. We are an economic powerhouse. Now let's move our trading port to Firenze. This should hopefully sort out a lot of our issues. Well, there we go. We were earning 8 from trade, and now we're earning 23.48, and that's only with 2 merchants transferring, not even 1 collecting. Well, hey there, Germania, not looking too healthy, it seems. And after another glorious crusade into the eastern steppe, Eusebios II has gifted the lands north, of the Caucasus to Tamarkia in respect for the work they are doing in spreading Hellenism to the world. He did, however, retain control of the important imperial trade regions of Theodosia and Azov. And by the way, guys, before you ask, I am using the console to give them this land because they won't take it even if we try and give it to them for free using diplomacy. So we're just using the console to simulate these givings of land to the people in the east. And there is exploration fully finished, guys. Very nice. And for our third tier government reform, let's go exile colonial companies for that Sessler chance. Well, Tamarkia decided to attack our other ally, Badinia, over here. Not great behavior on their part, I've got to say, but if they take all of this land, I'm not too bothered. And once again, in recognition of the great service Tamarkia has been doing to Hellenism, they have been granted all the land north of the Drava River here. I've also dissolved our alliance with Lotharingia. I think our alliance with them has stopped Germania attacking them, so I kind of want to see who comes out on top over here. And Zoroastrian is back! I mean, like I said last time, gotta be the most resilient religion we've seen in this campaign by a long way. Taking a couple of loans, and now we can embrace Renaissance. Very nice. Fortunately, no one will accept knowledge sharing, though. And Tamarkia is just going ham. They might be the new Hellenic horde. And the year is 1501, guys, and we just spawned in colonialism. Very nice indeed. Allowing us to get Renaissance thought, and then we can go straight onto expansion ideas. In terms of the world, things are looking relatively stable in Europe. We have the big powers, Lotharingia, Germania. We've got the Scandinavians up here, all sort of scrapping it out. Alba as well, taking over lots of Scandinavia, and Galicia being pretty chill. We can now see other parts of the world, and the great nation of Ob is looking rather juicy. Persia is quite messy, and the Hellenistic Empire don't look like they're doing too much, honestly. And honestly, guys, pagan Hellenism is like so OP in this game. We're getting so many good events. There are some bad ones as well, but like, the majority have been pretty darn nice, I'm not gonna lie. And by the way, colonialism spawned in Sinope, the most likely place for it to spawn in the world. And there we go, new Sparta is formed, Nia Sparti for the boys. Let's give our new little buddy a bit of a helping hand over here. Well, there we go, that should give them a bit of a helping hand with their expansion and give us an extra merchant. So now we can focus on the Caribbean. Well, I think it's time to start our golden era, boys. And there goes Eusebius II hailing the reign of Tiberius II with an air that is, different in some way. We've embraced colonialism. Hopefully we can sell it to Tamarkia. And there we go, my friend. Let this relationship continue to be fruitful. And I thought Germania was gonna be the big boy in this game, guys. But no, it seems like it might be Lotharingia, to be fair. Now, Nia Sparti has a gold mine which we colonized, so they should start sending us a little bit of cash. And our great leader Tiberius has died, putting us in a regency for Agatha. Who is this Constantine bloke everyone keeps talking about? He definitely didn't exist in this world. So in honor of Leonidas the Good from CK3 and the great Leonidas of old, we should name it Leonidopolis. Damn, Lotharingia looking thick, boys. I think level 4 government reform. Let's go curtail the clerical privileges. Finally, we've got some competition in the colonial game with Alba coming across to Canada. Not too much of an alternate universe, I've got to say. Although maybe this is slightly ahistorical. Welcome to cosplaying as the Byzantines once again, my friends. And now finally, Dardania is on 10 production development. Hopefully that might help our monetary situation. And a brand new colonial nation in the Caribbean, guys. We've taken all the centers of trade so far, and I think there's only one thing we can call it, and we're going to call it Aegeos, after our beloved Aegean Sea. And a pretty spicy heir to the throne is here. Let's call him a proper Spartan name. And there goes expansion, guys. Nice. Let's, of course, get the policy. Now, with the policy making uprising chance another minus 50%, I think we can go across to native trading policy. That'll be fine. Now, once these colonies are done in Aegeos, we should have 10 settlements getting our free merchant and allowing them to colonize maybe a little bit quicker with 2 at the same time. We'll see. In terms of where we go next, I'm thinking we put a hold on the Amazonas trade region. Because the West African coast is already pretty much colonized with the 3 vying empires over here, we aren't going to get too much trade from this area, and I kind of want to leave it for Vicky to see what we can do in this region in that game. So obviously in the Ivory Coast, we're not going to get much trade value, whereas if we get from the Caribbean straight to Sevilla, we should be good. So if we can push all of the Amazonas trade up north, we should be in a pretty good position. All right, Tamarkia, I see you over there declaring war on Germania. Well, let's have a bit of fun, shall we, boys? I've just tagged across to Lotharingia to see how Catholicism is getting on. And as you can see, it looks like people are pretty happy with the Pope. And Germania seems to be up on all of the new trending topics. For context, we're already on Tech 11 militarily. Well, at least it makes more sense why you are dying so much, Germania. And you may be wondering why we don't have any cannons in our armies. Well, the official reason is the fact that cannons are cowardly and we like to face our enemies face to face. But the unofficial reason is this. And damn, thick Germania's lost a little bit of weight. I preferred you when you were thick, baby. What an interesting nation. The Gummo revolt. It's safe to say the economy is now rolling. And for our third idea group, we are definitely gonna go military, guys. And I am generally a massive fan of offensive ideas, but I think with the infantry combat ability we already have, it's probably worth it to go quality. Plus we get a bit of navy stuff, which we are going to have a rather large navy by the end of this. And I was looking around the map and I was like, oh, it's cool that Malta's independent, and it's called Syracuse, which is pretty cool. Guess what religion they are, guys? Canaanite. Awesome, awesome. Canaanite survives, my friends. It survives. We do have our own Canaanite province in Corsica, and I refuse to convert it. It will remain until the end of the game if I can help it. And a new colonial nation in Colombia, guys. Of course, we're going self-governing colony so that they will expand a little bit quicker. And I thought, what better name than to name them after Eusebius the Requiem, our glorious king that went for 70 years in CK3. And finally, Tamarkia has been rather quiet recently, and now they are taking us into the north against Volga, Bulgaria up here. And goddammit, I didn't even notice we had this piece of land up here. I guess they gave it to us in a peace deal, but we'll just give it back to them, basically. And the Christians have called for a crusade against us. Well, that's interesting, at least. And there pops the printing press. Maybe Germania will get a bit of a bump from this. I guess not. It spawned in Lotharingia. And there goes Tamarkia. Honestly, guys, we may have created a bit of a monster here. Next government reform time. And honestly, none of these are that interesting to us. I mean, we could go for Marines, but really doesn't matter that much, especially seeing as we're not really getting involved in too many wars over here on the continent. So, yeah, I think we just go for military engineering, allowing us to barrage for a lot cheaper. And once more into the breach, dear friends. And the first queen of Sparta, Agata, has died, giving way to the glorious leader, Areus II Argead. I mean, he's probably like 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th at this point, but that's fine. Ah, and a brand new colony. I wonder what we should call this one. Well, as part of her last will and testament, the first queen of Sparta, Agata, bestowed the new kingdom in the Mexican Gulf to her son and heir, Areus. So from now on, this land shall be known as the Kingdom of Areus. Well, you, Sabonia, you look like you've, had a bit of an issue over here, shall we say. Well, there we go. Tamarkia is getting rather juicy now. And on top of her bequeathment to Areus, Agata was not done there. And out of respect for her king consort, who hailed from the mountains of the Caucasus, she asked that all the land east of the ancient city of Trebizond be released into its own nation with its own laws and own destiny. This nation would form a buffer state, she reasoned, between the Hindus in the east and the true Hellenic religion of the West. And while this nation will remain part of the Spartan Empire, it will allow this nation to form its own destiny. This, she reasoned, would give the people of the mountains some self-governance and allow them to practice their cultural traditions in peace. There goes quality ideas as well, boys. Finishing off our Greek ideas with that nice core creation cost, not that we're really gonna use it. And finally, only 100 years later, we can pay off our loans, guys. Well, that's good. That's going to allow us to modernize the army, build a proper navy, and smash some less developed peoples. Now, finally, we have some proper armies, boys. Good. And god damn you, Britain! Why are you over here? This is our land, man! And they do actually have the 13 colonies already, but it's not looking that healthy, as you can see. And I have been a little bit stupid, because I don't know why I didn't colonize Rio de la Plata first. I just like Santa Fe, because it's such a big blob of a province. First things first, let's help Eusebiania over here because they look like they're not doing too well. Well, Eusebiania, you can thank me later by sending me a load of money. And in an effort to bring more people to the new colony in the south of South America, Arius II has decreed that this new land shall be called Elysia Pediada. And in an effort to embellish his new colonial kingdom, Arius is going to declare war over here on a few enemies. Technically, it's a lot of men, but I don't think it's going to be a problem, boys. This is who we're at war with, and it's basically just going to be a bit of a siege fest. Hey, what are you doing, Alba? Why have you got troops over here? Where have they come from? Aegios is a rather powerful, honestly, at the minute. 27k stack with more troops on the way. Pretty nice. Although, what is this heresy? Well, interestingly enough, we just got called into a war with Galicia over here, which does have Alba in it, so I wonder whether they'll give us any land. Like, specifically this land is what I'm talking about. They do have an army down here, though, so maybe we need a couple of mercs. Well, there we go. That looks a lot better for Arius's kingdom. Good luck with the fort maintenance and the rebels, though, bro. But we're not stopping there, guys. We are going to attack everyone that we can in the north now as well. Well, I didn't realize the Hellenistic Empire was in this war, so let's get moving on. And next idea group, guys, we are going to go for trade. I've also just realized that Aegios over here has taken some land. Looks like you're getting a bit big for your boots over there, bro. Well, maybe starting the war in the New World was a bit of a mistake because we're at 43,000 men in the hole right now. Not perfect, really. Well, honestly, I think we just get out of this war because we're just getting besieged by a lot of rebels and we are struggling right now. I honestly don't know why Sir Danya declared this war. Like, we are pretty outnumbered. I'm guessing we were pretty even at the start, though. Well, Arius has died and now we have Glorious Sabas, who is pretty average. And things are not looking good over here. We lost an army stuck on the strait over there. And overall, we just don't have enough troops to deal with the amount of troops over here. I think Cerdania thought that we had a load of troops because of my colony's troops, but currently you can see they're already quite busy. Well, at least we've faced some sort of a pretty big challenge in the campaign because up to now it's been pretty nice. And there we go. The peace deal has come and we have actually ceded land to Galicia. Well, that will at least give us a goal going through the campaign to take this land back. Now we basically just need to completely rebuild our nation, our armies, all that sort of thing. And yes, Tamarkia, we will help you out in another northern conquest. But honestly, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. God damn it, Tamarkia. This is land that I don't want. Well, there we go. At least someone wants it. And tier 6 government reform. It's a bit of a shame we can't go parliament, so we're going to go royal decree instead. And god damn it, we still have not adopted printing press because all of these nations around us are hostile, so it's spreading so slowly to us. I have built it in a couple of places, but oh, damn, we really need this. Well, this is certainly interesting. A Spartan pirate republic, my friends. That's, pretty cool. The Hellenic Spartan Pirate Republic of the Bahamas. Amazing. Finally, Tamarkia is fighting the great nation of Ob. And finally, we can embrace printing press. Oh my god, it's been a while. And also, our colonization is going pretty well. I'm going to draw the line at Louisiana if we can get there before, say, Alba. And basically leave the north to Lotharingia and Alba. Don't anyone be mistaken. This is Lotharingia's Canada. We will take California though as well, but apart from that, I think we're pretty done in terms of colonial nations, apart from maybe Australia. And there goes Tamarkia, pretty big now. And there goes trade ideas as well, boys. And global trade has spawned. I'm assuming that's probably spawned in Alba. Yes, it did. And we're finally in the age of Reformation. Oh my god. Only on the 1st of January 1600. And yet, still no Protestantism at all. In terms of the rest of the world, everything's looking rather juicy. Of course, Europe is still split between the big powers of us, Tamarkia, Germania, Favonia, Lotharingia, and Alba, with Galicia as a sort of dark horse. Yamnat is going ham, and by the way, this is a Hindu Yamnat. In terms of India, the Dravidians look pretty strong. Ming does still exist, and we've also got a Hindu Mongolia. And damn, Galicia is supporting the independence of Aegeos. It must have just tipped over 50. So we do need to keep these guys in check, especially seeing as they are self-governing colonies. And California is now done, so I think that is a great name for it. Well, all the natives are now in a coalition with us, so I think we're done with South America for a little while at least. And honestly, guys, I'm not sure I'm going to spawn in Protestantism at all. I'm just going to let it play out. I mean, for my money, it makes a lot of sense in a world that is dominated by paganistic religions in Europe that, you know, the Catholics are a little bit more united against a more common enemy closer to home, shall we say. And damn, looks like they just accepted all of the rebels' demands without even trying to fight them, because we did have this guy over here killing the rebels, so... Okay, fine. Well, guys, it is time to get back into Galicia. We have Alba and the Hellenistic Empire in this as well. I'm basically going to allow Tamarkia to deal with the Hellenistic Empire, and we are going to fully focus on Galicia. Well, that was a rather short age of Reformation, guys. A whole 10 years. And honestly, fighting Galicia is an absolute nightmare right now. Mainly due to the fact that we are actually the only ones fighting them. All of our allies are in the east, so hopefully we can piece out a few of these boys. Well, there we go. Let's get rid of the Hellenistic Empire. And god, my allies are useless. Like, what are they doing? They're just chilling in the east. And finally, we have some extra gov cap. That's going to help out a lot with our economy. Well, there goes Alba as well. Well, Tamarkia's left the war, the cowards. After all, I've done for you. There goes Louisiana. Well, should we say Damiania? Well, there we go, guys. We're going to take this. It's been a pretty darn painful war once again. We definitely need to get a little bit more powerful before we can really take them on. The main issue being that our troops are really not that good. And a brand new queen, Agatha II. Well, there Carthage has popped out of us as well, because during the war, they did occupy this piece of land here, Ibiza. And I didn't see that it was occupied by rebels. So yeah, I think we'll be able to take it back pretty quickly though. Well, I don't think Arius's kingdom is doing too well over here. Maybe we need to come back over and sort this out. Next idea group, guys, we definitely need some military assistance, so we are going to go offensive. Well, there's Carthage gone once again. And tier 7 government reform, let's go dynastic administration. Is anyone else feeling a bit of deja vu? And Australia is now done, and we're going to call it Sabasia. And Tamarkia continues its expansion in the east. What a crusader state this has become. Ooh, that's got a sting, Ming. Damn, Tamarkia is attacking Lotharingia. That isn't the best idea, I've got to say. That's a few troops you've got there, Lotharingia. And Aegeos has decided to declare war on us for independence. Now, I was actually thinking about releasing them to be independent anyway, so that's not a problem. We will just release them. And there we go. Managed to release them. And now they are Cuba. It is funny, isn't it, doing one of these grand campaigns? Because you try so hard not to be overpowered. And if we'd have taken Spain early on, we would have been the most powerful nation in the world so easily. We could have taken on Lotharingia. We could have taken on anyone, the Hellenistic Empire. Anything that we wanted, but we specifically didn't do that, and now we are probably pretty underpowered, I've got to say. Like, we don't have that many troops, we don't have that much development. Are we still the #1 great power? No, we're not even the #1 great power, just focusing on colonial games. So Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think it's better for the long run to remain underpowered until we get through Vicky 3 and into Hoi 4. And Tamarkia has peaced out. We did manage to get out of the war a little bit earlier than expected. But yeah, Lotharingia is looking rather scary now. And we have reached 1700, guys, which is where we're going to leave off for today. For the last 60, 70, 80 years, we've been trying to play tall to try and make our nation as good as possible going into Victoria 3. Mainly because we did get to that point in the middle around 1600 where we've probably underplayed a little bit and let some other powers become a little bit OP. But now we are back to the #1 great power, followed by Lotharingia. Then we have the monstrous India as well. Alba or Britain with Favonia next up, and the Hellenistic Empire following on. The Gummo boys over here in 7th, and Tamarkia over here in 8th. But our great friends Tamarkia, our crusader state to the northeast, is not much of a crusader state anymore. Honestly, I have no idea how this happened, because the only person that could do this is Volga Bulgaria, no one else. I'm assuming they brought in Favonia or something, and that's what caused that to happen, but yeah, not much of a crusader state anymore. I was trying to build a spy network to support the Hellenic rebels over here, but we kept getting caught. Lotharingia is obviously the big bad boy in this campaign. They are absolutely ginormous. And the Hellenistic Empire has done some interesting expansion. In terms of the New World, guys, we're going to keep all of our colonies apart from Cuba, which we've already released, of course. And it's pretty alright in South America with Eusebiania in the north, a Galician Colombia as well, near Sparta, and Alicia Pediada, but there is a bit of a mess with Argentina and Alban Peru as well. North America is rather interesting with Cuba, Damiana, Vasilio II Areas, and Leonidia, but New Lotharingia and Lotharingia's Canada are looking rather big and juicy. Alba does still have the 13 colonies, and Newfoundland, honestly, no idea how they've managed to hold on to these to the end. And Alaska has pretty much been the last place that anyone could colonize at this point. So, yeah, it's looking rather terrible. In terms of Asia, Ming did explode, and that has caused a few powers to become rather big, like Korea, Japan, and Rayanas mainly. Religion-wise, guys, Catholicism stayed to the end with no Reformation at all, and honestly, this is something that makes a lot of sense thematically to me. I feel like with the strong pagan powers around the Catholics, that they would remain unified in this position. Obviously, the Hellenic Empire is still Old Hellenic, but Hindu at this point is most likely the largest religion in the world. Look how much Hindu there is. It's crazy. In terms of us, we have been playing tall, trying to develop some of our lands around Greece, that sort of thing. And I've been trying to build manufactories in as many places in Europe as possible, as you can see. This is our final economy, guys, making 640 gold. Honestly, if we'd min-maxed the start, which we would do if we were going for like a world conquest or something, I think this would be more like 2,000, 2,500. But I think we've held ourselves back relatively well in EU4. I think we've, you know, released subjects, that sort of thing, not taken too much land. I think we're in a reasonable place without being too overpowered. And we may have run out of places to colonize, so I might have a little bit of a colony in East Siberia for strategic naval base reasons in Victoria 3. Australia is looking rather horrific over here, and Southeast Asia was a massive scramble at the end, guys. Many different powers have tried to grab as much land as possible. We took Papua New Guinea and a few of these islands, but you can see Alba down here. Hellenistic Empire even has a colony out here. Korea has some, Favonia has some, and Lotharingia does have some parts, but I can't remember exactly where. Oh, over here, basically. We did also take a little bit of South Africa and this piece of Cameroon too, basically as bases for African expansion into Victoria 3. Culture-wise, we have been converting a few places, most notably North Africa, because it was all sort of this blue culture here, which would be a foreign culture in Victoria 3, South Spain as well, and a few places in Italy too. But honestly, guys, the thing I am most proud of this whole game is that Canaanite still exists on Corsica. And welcome back to The game that shall not be named. Well, last time in EU4, we created a large Spartan colonial empire. So how are things going to shape out in the age of industry? Well, let's see. So here is the map of the world, guys, and honestly, it's looking pretty decent in my opinion, apart from a few areas. But one thing I did want to say is I had to do quite a bit of maneuvering with the Hellenistic Empire because they were becoming a decentralized nation in the converter, allowing us to colonize this land. So basically what I did is I released their West African holdings, which are their subjects now, and then I had to make the converter non-European focused and focused on the institutions from EU4, which means there are some pretty powerful nations. But let's get into Sparta, guys. We are a feudal empire with 17.6 million GDP and 47.5 million population, but only 14% literacy, which if we compare to say Tamarkia or even the Hellenistic Empire, we are a long way behind that, which is quite good for this game. It gives us something to work on. Now, one thing that might be absolutely amazing, guys, is the fact that, of course, Tamarkia went away from Hellenic in the last game, and there are a lot of Hellenic pops in Tamarkia, so maybe they'll start migrating into our land. But we have a huge amount of issues we need to sort out in our nation, not least the fact that we have a famine right now. Now, you can't always trust the market values before you unpause, but as you can see, guys, we have a massive deficit of grain, so we need to get that going straight away. Now, honestly, our power structure laws are not horrendous. Monarchy, oligarchy, and racial segregation, which is actually a fantastic one to start on, because we do have a lot of pops that aren't going to be segregated in our lands. Freedom of conscience is also a great one to start on too, but in terms of our economy, it is pretty much the worst it can be, with serfdom and tradition. That is not good. We've also got debt oopsies, which is never good either. And our standard of living is pretty horrific right now. We definitely need to get that up. First things first, though, let's make sure we are colonizing everywhere that we can, which is over here and over here. And we do already have colonies around some of these areas. We do have some spare bureaucracy, so let's incorporate all of these states that aren't incorporated yet. I mean, there's only very small ones, so it shouldn't be too bad on our bureaucracy. And with our authority points, we are going to be promoting social mobility in our high population provinces, which are pretty much the Italian ones. And also Ankara and Konya as well. And there we go, declared all of our interests, guys. Now onto the fun part of the building, guys, and we do have a surplus of iron, so we're going straight onto iron frame buildings. Now in terms of our construction sectors, we can get 33 iron mines in northern Thrace, so I think we're going to build them there. So there we go, we're going to build 5 more. That should do us for now. And after that, we're going to try and relieve the famine by building at least one little wheat farm in all of these provinces over here that don't have one already. So there we go, that should be enough for now. And I've gone through and sorted out all of our production methods over here, guys, and basically we just need to unpause to see how our market's doing. The landowners actually want landed voting, so that is the first law we're going to go for and try and get them a little bit happier before we move away from serfdom. Research-wise, guys, we are going to get these 4 ones first to get the research bonus, then go straight for railways and water tube boilers, and then we'll go on to some society research, central banking, and pharmaceuticals. Well, I've combined the armies and navies. They're all moving into position now. Now, that's not something we're really going to be focusing on to start with. We really need to sort our economy, our literacy, all that sort of thing first. So let's now form our power block, the Spartan Imperium, a sovereign empire. Now, I know Trade League is probably going to be better, but it makes more sense to be a sovereign empire for us, doesn't it, guys? And we're going to go for vassalization 1. This is our emblem, and this is our statue. Very nice. And as you can see, we've already got a lovely 11 members. Also, I forgot to mention, what in the hell is that flag? Right then, guys, let's press play and see where our market shapes out in about a month. And I forgot to say, this is the Great Powers list, with Lotharingia coming in first with a GDP of 27.3 million. Ryanas has a massive GDP and a massive population as well, the same as Lotharingia and Wu, but they are currently unrecognized, so let's try and help them get recognized. But as you can see, we are quite far behind in terms of population, GDP, and standard of living, so we really have some work to do. Well, with our brand new interests, we do have more colonies that we can do, so let's just get them in there. I know it's a long time, but that's going to come down rather quickly when we start investing in our institutions. And with that racial segregation law, guys, 81% of our population is at full acceptance, which is pretty amazing, honestly. That is very, very good for us. And we got 2.33 million Etrurians. That is pretty amazing that they survived all this way. And 900,000 Carthaginians. Well, that is fantastic. In terms of our military actions, let's clean up North Africa and take on Guerrero. Ooh, and the Hellenistic Empire is actually supporting them, so we are going to split our armies and make sure that we defend this front at least. Well, there we go. War has broken out, my friends. I'm hoping we can smash Guerrero fast enough to come back onto this front that they don't have any troops on. And there, in the midst of war, we now have landed voting, allowing some political parties to form. That should really help us out. Well, there we go. We naval invaded the center of the Hellenistic Empire, making them come out of the war. Very nice. And that also gives us a couple of little extra subjects down here in West Africa. And somehow we actually capitulated to Guerrero, just giving them war reps. I don't mind that, honestly. We beat the Hellenistic Empire and took a little bit of land off them. And for our next law, I think we are going to risk going for homesteading. It's not going to make the landowners go into revolution, but we've just got to be careful. Make sure the landowners don't go over -10 through any other actions. Let's go for vassalization 2 from our vassals. See how we do on income there, and with our extra authority from that vassalization, we are going to get a tax in here as well. So let's tax services and luxury furniture, and that's great. The landowners are already trying to coup us. And there we go. We now have homesteading. We also got railways as well. That is hugely important. That allows all our peasants to move around now, so they're not stuck in regions where there's famine, where there's no jobs, all that sort of thing. And the landowners now support total separation. That should stop the coup. It also makes the intelligentsia incredibly happy. The devout aren't going to be too happy, but that's quite a nice little bonus for us if we can get it. Let's also move up to level 2 colonial affairs. That's going to be very helpful. And there goes the coup. You're not having us over today, landowners. Well, there goes total separation. Very nice indeed, my friends. Ooh, and now we can reform properly, bring the rural folk and the petty bourgeois in. That should really give us some good options. So we've been improving our relations with this large Arabian Hindu nation of Yamna, and now we can invite them to our power block, which is going to be absolutely lovely. So let's do that. In terms of laws, guys, let's go for agrarianism over here. That should really help out, because traditionalism is pretty awful. And now we've got water tube boiler, allowing us to go condensing engine pump, which is really going to help out with our iron and coal and all that sort of thing. I do also have nitroglycerin, but I don't think we're going to go for that. We're just going to wait until we get dynamite. And for our second principle, I think we're going to go for construction. That is a very nice bonus, especially early in the game. And for our first company, we are going to go for grain, because we are still struggling with that. Ooh, and Galicia is facing some issues. Very nice. Mind you, so is Brazil. God damn it, agrarianism was cancelled. That is very not good for us. Well, there's a very small chance we could get public schools, so we've got to take that to try and get our literacy up. So we're in 1857, guys, and we've managed to sort our base resource production out, so we are a lot healthier on coal, tools, iron, that sort of thing. Wheat, of course, as well. So that's really going to help us move forward. Some of the more advanced goods like porcelain, engines, that sort of thing, we aren't doing too well on. Clothes as well is a big one. And we do have a massive deluge of fabric. Look how much fabric we're making. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to export as much as possible, but no one wants Spartan fabric apparently. So yeah, we need to get building some more clothes. that sort of thing. That's really going to help us out going forward. God damn it, we got to ascent stage with public schools, but we had 2 setbacks and now it's done. We're so unlucky with our legislation in this game. Let's try again for agrarianism. I don't know whether it's going to pass, but you know, we really just need to get off traditionalism. It's so bad. And let's have another go at Guerrero over here. And we just unlocked quinine, allowing us to go up to the next colonial institution. And we can also invite Moravi now. Very nice. And there we go. Guerrero is now our protectorate. It's time for another mandate, allowing us to go for advanced research, boys. That should really help us out getting some schools eventually. We're getting so unlucky with our legislation. It is so holding us back right now. The main issue is that the landowners are still so powerful in here. It's an absolute nightmare. Like, we can't go off landed voting, which really doesn't help. And traditionalism is just breaking our economy right now. We really cannot start to industrialize with traditionalism. One thing we could do, though, to make a few more people loyal is get public health insurance, so let's go for that. And guys, a different day, different shirt. First things first, I did want to apologize profusely, guys, for not getting this out sooner. I know it's been a very long time, but with Christmas, family functions, and then a few personal things that I've had to sort out recently, it has meant that I really was not in the space or had the time to record, and obviously it's not my job, guys, so unlike some of the other people who can do this back to back, I can't. But we are in a good position, and hopefully this will make up for it. Hopefully it'll be a fun video for you. Now, I thought we'd take this opportunity to kind of take stock, guys, and I am going to reform the government and remove the petty bourgeois, because they don't even care about this law anyway for now. And I've got to say, we have been incredibly unlucky with the laws that we have been doing. We are still on traditionalism in 1862, which is absolutely horrific. I am glad we managed to get to homesteading, and we still have 0 schools at all, although some people do want to bring the schools in as well. But honestly, being slightly underpowered, of course, is always good. Like I say, in any of the games, you can become incredibly overpowered. So the fact that the legislation has taken so long to do anything about is kind of a nice hamper for us going forward. In terms of our plan, though, guys, it is mainly still modernizing the country, because our literacy, our GDP, and our standard of living is still absolutely awful, and we really need to start improving it. Like, if we have a look at the power block, we are definitely the biggest power block that is spreading the most in the world. I actually noticed that Cuba is interested in potentially becoming back into our power block, so we are going to definitely look at them, and Malacca as well are our 2 next targets. And goddamn, finally we have something good for our country. Public health insurance. Let's go. Cue the Americans commenting down below. And I think we really do need to try for public schools once again. We're also going to pop up the health system to the next level. That should be pretty nice for our standard of living across the lands. And now we can go straight up to Advanced Research 3, which is pretty darn good for our research, especially due to the fact that we have such a low literacy. Well, New Lotharingia, that's certainly an interesting flag there. I wonder where you got that idea from. And finally, we have public schools. It passed on 69%, guys. That is really going to help, but we have one law we have yet to really change. So now our laws honestly are looking relatively decent overall for this point in the game, apart from this one, which, yeah, we can't really change as of yet, because even though these guys got quite a significant amount of the vote, they will still not be allowed in the government. It will give us no legitimacy, and we really can't add anyone else, unfortunately. So we need to break the landowners somehow, or get a little bit of a better leader in charge. So basically what we need to do is get dedicated police force over here, because the local police force is giving the landowners some power. So what I'm potentially thinking of doing is going up to mercantilism. Honestly, either of these laws, it doesn't really matter too much for us. So by going to mercantilism, we may be able to make the landowners slightly happier, allowing us then to change the laws to dedicated police force and then hopefully we can get off traditionalism. That's that's the convoluted plan anyway. And this is how long it's been since I've not played the game, guys. Last time I played the game, obviously you could bolster the parties, like, directly and suppress the parties, which is what I would have done right at the start. But I didn't realize that you can bolster these guys over here. So what I've done is I've bolstered the radical movement and the liberal movement, both of which should really help us out going forward. I mean, should have been doing it from the start, but you know, handicaps and all that, really, isn't it? So we're nearing 1870, guys, and we are close to getting mercantilism now, which is very good. In terms of our economy, I mean, our economy is not doing fantastically, let's be honest. And finally, we have mercantilism, making the landowners have -3 approval right now, so hopefully we can move to something a little bit better, maybe if we change the government around. Honestly, guys, we've got 3 mandates available as well, and I think we just go creative legislature because honestly, it's been so hard to get anything through, hasn't it? So, yeah, let's go for that. And then when we've got the laws we want, we'll move across to freedom of movement. And by that time, hopefully, we'll have a bit better standard of living. And honestly, guys, we are just constantly at war, which is ruining our economy right now, too. All colonial wars, all in our former colonies, they are constantly going through civil wars. Maybe we need to take a leaf out of their book. And oh my god, finally, we can change the government around properly. It's still unacceptable, but this should allow us to do some laws that'll hopefully be better. And we can just about scrape in agrarianism over here without the landowners getting too radical, so that is absolutely what we need to do. Pray for good RNG, guys. Tech-wise, we are just about to get dynamite. As soon as we get that, guys, we're going to go straight onto it because it's going to allow us to produce a lot more goods. And there we go. We've just changed across to dynamite, and as you can see, we have a bit of a deficit. However, these explosive factories are not producing at their full efficiency yet because the market didn't demand it. So I'm going to let them catch up, and once they do, we're going to have a look at what we need. Maybe some more fertilizer plants and some more sulfur mines. And god damn it, even though the Agrarian Party won the last election, they would still be an illegitimate government. Look at that. 25, just about legitimate, but I think we're just going to have to do it for now. It might drop back down. If it drops back down, then we'll have to put the landowners back in charge. Honestly, though, guys, I don't know what anyone else is doing. The world is pretty quiet right now. It seems like we're the only ones getting involved in too many wars and colonizing and all that sort of thing. So, Ryanas does have the gummos as a subject, I believe, now, which is pretty cool. But apart from that, it's not really amazing. And I mean, what is this? Hello? I don't even know what to do with that. And you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is just ridiculous. The RNG with the laws in this run has been horrific. We've failed on a plus 50% chance about 4 or 5 times in a row now. So please, 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 game, please. 88% chance, and we need it because of our budget. I've put it on low so that we can actually get this law. Oh, man. It only took an 88% chance and about 5 or 6 goes on a plus 50% chance to get agrarianism. But finally, we're no longer, you know, medieval peasants basically roaming around with our economic system. So, at least that's a good thing, I guess. Well, the one good thing is we very much have sorted out our explosives deficit. As you can see, we've brought them into line up here. Very nice indeed. Our main concern now is both our bureaucracy and our steel deficit, and maybe some clothes as well, but I've got all the buildings queued up that we need. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And as we're getting close to 1880, guys, let's take stock of where we've been. Our domestic product has gone up quite a bit. We are number 4 still in the world, but it's really a lot lower than it should be, but mainly due to our law issues, shall we say. Our literacy is going pretty well now as well, which is awesome. And our standard of living is finally on the up, with everyone having an expected standard of living. Very nice. Our population is decent, as you can see, 52.9 million or so. Our radicals are now coming down due to the standard of living, which is good. We are still on very high taxation, which of course is terrible, so we need to start pumping the economy now. I just can't believe how far behind we are. Like, we should be so much further along than this. In terms of our institutions though, guys, we have them all at the max levels that we need, apart from law enforcement, because of course that gives the landowners some political strength, which they already have a lot of. And look how close Malacca is to joining our power block, 3 away, and it's been about that for a long time. We're doing all of this to try and get them, but it's still not working, unfortunately. And now we have a new king, Emperor Adiatorix Agiad over here, and he's an authoritarian, so, I mean, we are keeping monarchy. I know it's not the best, but we are keeping it just because of the thematic. So that's another, you know, sort of negative that we have for us. And unfortunately, we have an illegitimate government and nothing we can reform into, so we need an election pretty quick. Right, let's try for per capita taxation. It's not going to radicalize the landowners, so that is one good thing, and it should bring us a lot more money if we do manage to pass it, which, knowing this run, we're not going to pass it. Now we're stuck in perpetually illegitimate governments, which, of course, is always fun. Well, seeing as the Congo won't come into our faction with any sort of pushing, we are going to try and take them ourselves. Well, there goes the Congo. Very nice. I did make Moravi a subject as well over here in East Africa, but it should be okay. It made the cohesion go down a little bit, but yeah, we'll start ticking that back up now. And we have surveyed the Suez, so of course we're going to make a suitable offer for it. So our cohesion is already back up to 75%, which is very nice. So what we're going to do, we're also going to subjugate Yamnat over here, a very big nation, a Hindu nation, remember, as well, in East Africa and South Arabia. Very nice. And damn, per capita taxation, guys, we are finally on the road to becoming a proper nation. I mean, look at our economy. It has skyrocketed recently. So has our literacy and our standard of living. Our population is growing and our loyalists and radicals are getting a little bit more balanced. I mean, the main problem now is the fact that we can't really get any of these without radicalizing the landowners. We are, however, gonna go for it and see what happens. What I am, however, going to do is literally cancel everything that is using our authority, and hopefully that will make this pretty fast. No, it is still 188 days, so that is not great for us, honestly. In terms of our economy now, though, guys, with per capita taxation, we're making a ton of money. So we are just going to tank the cost for that extra steel. 432. In terms of our market, if we have a look at steel, we are quite far behind, but we are just about to start building some extra steel mills. If we need more than that, I'll alt-click a few more in, but I think we can tank that in our economy for the time being. And look at that. That construction is finally looking more like it. Galicia, I really just want to know what you have been doing this entire time. Like, you've just been doing nothing. Same with pretty much everyone in Europe. It's been a big stalemate, really. And honestly, with steel frame buildings, it's not even that bad of a deficit currently. We will need to build some more glassworks, though. And there we go. We've almost instantly balanced out steel now, which is good. We just need to balance out the glass and the coal. With that in mind, we are going to build 5 more construction sectors, maybe 10. No, I think 5 will be okay for now. And god damn it, Garir is starting a play against us, which is never good. Well, now we've got Tamarkia and Malacca involved as well. That should definitely help out quite a bit, I think. Hopefully they can plug some of the gaps in these lines. And there we go. Garir just literally backed down. Very nice indeed. And that actually gave us one of our primary objectives, which was to take the Sinai so we could build the canal. Very nice. And we just tipped over 50 million. For this point in the game, normally that would be pretty trash, I'm not gonna lie, but for some of the setbacks we've had, I think it's been okay. I mean, honestly, this has kind of been like playing an Ottomans game. Like, we had such terrible economic legislation and we kept failing at getting it. So yeah, it's been interesting to say the least, but finally it feels like we're maybe over the hump. We shall see. And it seems like universal suffrage is facing the same fate as every other piece of legislation we've tried to pass in this whole goddamn game. Again, failing to get past introduction like 3 or 4 times on plus 50% or more. And finally, we are a maybe slightly democratic nation now. Finally. And there we go, election in 150 days. That is going to be so useful. Hopefully, we can reduce the power of the landowners even less. And there we go, a brand new election. It looks like the rural folk might be quite powerful now, though. But at least we have finally broken the power of the landowners and the devout. Well, guys, another new day and another new shirt. And as you can see, we are probably the second largest GDP in the world now, more than Lotharingia has themselves, and a lot less population. Not quite as much as Rayanus over here, and Awad does have a significant amount too. But honestly, all the Chinese ones, like, they have huge populations, 112 million, but only 33.1 million GDP. So they really haven't been doing too well. And in terms of our standard of living, we are very, very high right now. Sunda, like, how does Sunda have 11.4? Like, oh, Sunda is in the East Indies, and it's not even that big. And yeah, they've got a pretty good standard of living overall. But somehow Yamnat and the Gummos over here do have a more standard of living than us, but we are doing very well compared to a lot of people. Finally, things are looking up for us, finally. And I was just looking at banning the oopsies over here, and I was thinking, why would this radicalize the devout? Like, why would they want this not to be banned? And then I realized that we're kind of one of the OGs of this. The thing is, the landowners and devout aren't that powerful anymore, so I think it is worth just going for this anyway. I think we max out construction in northern Thrace now. I think we can handle it with our economy. And there goes electrical generation. Now, we're going to start experimenting with that maybe in another 9 years, but for now, we're going to leave that to the side, and we'll eventually start moving across to electricity everywhere. And after all the legislative failures we've had in this game, guys, we got this every single tick it went up, so that is very good. Finally, in the young year of 1891, we've got rid of the oopsies. And in terms of our population, guys, we do still have a lot of peasants, 10.1 million and 1 million unemployed people as well, which is never good, but that definitely will have gone up now that we got rid of the oopsies. However, I still want more population. I want to suck population from Lotharingia, Tamarkia, Hellenistic Empire, all those places, so that we get all the manpower when it comes to Hoi 4. And we basically now have all the legislation that we really are going to want. So we're going to go off creative legislature, and we're going to go straight in for freedom of movement here, and that is going to start bringing a lot of people from places across the world, because we have very good standard of living compared to many of these places, as you can see. And there we go. Now the Suez Canal is built. We have no employees here as well. That's a bit of a shame, but maybe we just need to start bringing in a few more people from being peasants into being unemployed. And we do have a successionist movement backed by the landowners and the devout, of course. We were sort of expecting that, but yeah, we'll try and suppress these guys. And let's keep on making the landowners angry by going for dedicated police force. I mean, it wouldn't be a Victoria 3 video without a successionist war led by the landowners, would it, guys? And there it fires, my friends. Overall, doesn't look too bad to deal with, but yeah, we'll be able to deal with it, I think. And there we go. There's dedicated police force. That is now going to allow us to get that right up, maybe all the way, and that's really going to help with our radical problem. And honestly, it's a pretty easy victory, really. We should be able to win this pretty quickly. Well, there we go. They are now completely done. Very nice indeed. The landowners should be pretty destroyed at this point. And I think now we can risk going for cultural exclusion. There is a chance it won't pass, but it will be very good if it does. We're also now going to subjugate Malacca too, which is going to reduce our cohesion by quite a bit, but it should start ticking up once again. And am I being dumb? Like, when did Favonia join the bloc? I don't remember that, but okay, the glorious ally of the Spartans the whole way through this game, Favonia, who we've never even interacted with once, has joined our glorious bloc. I'm assuming to get rid of Lotharingia, basically. Well, it looks like becoming more tolerant is not something that the Spartan people want, so yeah, let's get that done, and hopefully that's going to end this revolution. And we beat socialism in our country, apparently, guys, which, honestly, I can't imagine a Spartan type of socialism. I think there's one political ideology that Sparta suits the best. Tech-wise now, let's get malaria prevention. That is going to allow us to colonize a little bit quicker. And our new emperor has a very, Spartan name. And now with our rampant industrialization, guys, we are struggling very much to keep in check our glass, our coal, and our engines. At the minute, steel seems to be okay. It's about balanced, but yeah, coal, glass, and engines are starting to run away a little bit, so we're trying to just modify that slightly. And there goes elected bureaucrats. Very nice. And the year is 1900, guys, so what we're going to do now is start focusing maybe slightly off the economy. You can see it's been going pretty darn well overall the last 20 or 30 years. Honestly, I'd expect normally when I play Victoria 3 to have hit this point in the 1860s maybe, but yeah, we didn't face the best RNG in the world, did we? Or maybe I'm just terrible. But now I think it is time to start focusing a little bit on our army, because we can't have a World War II without a World War I. Now, I think it's time to give a helping hand to some of our lower strata people. In terms of the rest of the world, guys, not much has changed. I mean, we are pretty much the only power block apart from the Joint Front, which is just Lotharingia and its subjects, so oh, apparently Wu is in the Joint Front as well. That's interesting to say the least. But yeah, honestly, we are doing a very good job of mopping up the world, but like I say, we don't want to be too powerful. We are now down on very low taxes as well, helping out with our standard of living. In terms of our market, we have managed to get a lot of it under control once again, but we do keep fluctuating because obviously the more buildings we build, the worse this gets. But I've got about 50 coal mines queued up already, but with the amount of money we're making, I am probably going to build at least 10 more construction sectors. And there we go, we've just tipped over 100 million GDP, guys, making us the largest economy in the world. Very nice indeed. And there goes poor laws. That should really help us with our standard of living. Well, interestingly enough, guys, the reason why Favonia is in our power block is that they are a subject of Yamnat. How many pies have you got your fingers in, my friend? Well, guys, we definitely need to get planning for our World War I. I think Lotharingia's been a bit of a naughty boy. I mean, no reason other than the fact that they're pretty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a load of artillery foundries, arms industries, and munition plants before building a load of barracks and making our armies 100 units each. Believe it or not, we literally just have skirmish infantry at the moment, which is a little bit of a shame. No artillery, no lancers at all, but I'm not building any cavalry. I don't think they're going to be that useful. So it's just going to be artillery and infantry for now. Ah, I forgot Lotharingia trying to continually invade Syracuse. Well, I think that might be our casus belli, guys. And I think we go for cultural exclusion if we can. It's going to piss off the petty bourgeois, but I think that's okay. They're only going to be protesting from this. Also, we got our old friend back to Markia. We are now allies with these boys too, which is very good for World War I when we get there. In terms of what we want to do before we leave this game, guys, of course, we want a bit of a World War I to start with. And by the way, I did make Garir a protectorate, making them more autonomous, because if we didn't do that, there was a good chance that a few of these other powers might get involved, and we're not quite ready for that yet. But I'm getting distracted. The other stuff, we basically just want to clean up the rest of Africa, basically because by doing that, we won't have to worry about this front down here in Hoi 4. Well, Congo, it looks like you've not been so isolationist after all. We're also going to build universities all around our lands over here. Firstly, because we are nowhere near our innovation cap. I have kind of been ignoring that for a while. And secondly, so that no one can say that we haven't been gloriously benevolent overlords. And damn, there we go, cultural exclusion. That is really going to help with accepting a lot of our pops. Well, that is not what I expected to see when I woke up this morning, I'm not going to lie. And it gets even worse. But at least there's still Carthaginians, 1.79 million Carthaginians left in the country to keep our hopes alive. And there goes trench infantry, very nice. And now once again, like the Renegade Master, we are back to number 1. Well, as the year has tipped into the 1910s, I think it's time to start our large war. But what will it be fought over? Well, I think it has to be fought over Mali in this world. Oh my days, though. That is 90 infamy. Sorry, Mali, you're just not worth it. So you know what? I think we're going to clean up our borders somewhat. So let's go for Lotharingia's Piedmont over here, and it looks like pretty much everyone else is going to join their side. We're also going to add in Lotharingia's Lombardy over here. I think we're also going to try and liberate Lotharingia's Cascadia too. And I think by all rights, the Greek center of civilization, Syracuse, belongs to us, not the Gaulish Catholics of Lotharingia. And I've got to say, the game is not enjoying this one bit. In terms of armies, we've got 300 stacks, guys, and we've got 260 stack smaller ones to take out smaller areas. Well, Korea joined them. I don't know why, but okay. We didn't get a chance to upgrade all of our infantry to trench infantry, but luckily for us, neither has Lotharingia. Well then, boys, it is time for World War I. Let's see how it goes. And there it is. These are all our war goals, boys, and these are their war goals. And you could have chosen a better time to sort this out, Georgia, really. Well, huge engagements going on in the Alps and the east of Europe, guys. Very, very big. You can see a monstrous amount of troops over here, but we are just defending currently, and we'll see how we get on from there. I mean, we are very much losing in North America, but the more troops they send over this way, the better for us. Well, they just took a ton of troops off the front line. It looks like they're sending them all over here, which is quite funny, really. So we might see if we can do a little bit of a push. It looks like Tamarkia is pushing right now, so let's help our brothers in arms out. Well, it really does look like they've committed too much to the new world and not really thought about the old world too much. So once we can get our other 60 stack army over here, I think we'll be able to hold not too badly either. Well, Korea has left the war. That's certainly helpful for us. And that has just blown this front wide open. Look at that, 45 advantage right now. Let's see whether we can use that advantage. Well, I don't know what Tamarkia is doing, but it seems like they've taken a few troops off the front, maybe. They are starting to get invaded over in the east, while we are pushing in the west, as you can see. So, it's an interesting one. What I think we'll do is we'll go back to defending the front on all of these big armies over here. And then we'll wait for another opportunity to sally forth. And there goes Tamarkia. That's not the best sign. And I've just been staring, watching this the whole time, but the map is absolute chaos right now. But the thing is, we are winning most of these engagements along the Alps front because of our defense, of course. But I don't think we're going to be able to push at all. But we probably will, in a few more months, do one last big push and see what happens. And this war is just destroying our convoys, unfortunately. So I think, honestly, it's now or never. Let's go for a push. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is what both us and Lotharingia get for not having actual navies. Like, if we had a decent navy, we could have ended this so quickly. But alas, we do not. And unfortunately, our great push has yielded us nothing. Well then, guys, I think this war has cost us enough. But about 3.4 million dead and wounded on our side, and about 4.3 million dead and wounded on theirs. It has cost them more money than us, but unfortunately, neither of us have been able to do anything about our war goals. So a humiliating white peace for the two predominant large powers in this world. And there we go, signed on the 15th of March 1915, the white peace between the great nation of Lotharingia and Sparta. I think that is a nice springboard for whatever's going to happen in Hoi 4. The weird thing is that really didn't even have much impact on our population. It's still been going up. Our GDP, however, has taken a large hit from that. Well, guys, it's 1925, and I think we are going to leave it there. Honestly, the world doesn't look too different from what it did before, but yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in some of these powers, honestly. Like, Rayanus had such an opportunity to do a lot in Asia and sort of unify from Iran all the way across to the middle of China here, but they've pretty much done nothing. And the same thing with Lotharingia. They've pretty much just stayed stable, not really expanded at all. If we look at the power blocks, this is our power block, guys, including Favonia over here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we own most of South America, a large portion of North America, and a huge portion of Africa as well. In the east, of course, we own most of the East Indies. That's going to be so helpful when we get into Hoi 4. But Lotharingia's power block is pretty darn awful. Like, it's just their subjects, and then Wu and Korea, I think. So yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens when we get to Hoi 4. We are the #1 ranked power once again with 231.3 million GDP. Honestly, a lot lower than it could have been if we'd been really min-maxing, especially with electricity. But honestly, guys, the electricity system in this game is so annoying. It requires so much min-maxing and just messing around, and I really couldn't be arsed using it. I did build electric power plants in like all of our states, but just so that the converter doesn't mess anything up and make us like a low developed nation or something when we get into Hoi 4. But yeah, we have pretty much the highest standard of living in the world, apart from Yamnat with a monstrous 18.9. That is crazy, but we do have the highest GDP by quite a long way. Honestly, Britain is an absolute shambles. 13.1 million GDP for Britain. That is awful. I have spent the last few years of the game consolidating Africa, so all of these boys now are our subjects. The only one we couldn't do is Mali, because that would have started World War II before World War II is supposed to start, guys. One thing that I absolutely love is that the Aborigines are in charge of most of Australia still. That is fantastic. And honestly, Asia doesn't really bear looking at. It's absolute chaos over here. It is horrible to look at. Bordagore boys, close your eyes. But honestly, I think that is a nice setup for World War II. It's pretty much, I think, going to be Sparta versus Lotharingia, Britain, Galicia, and Timarchia most likely, and probably the Hellenistic Empire too. But hopefully the converter makes us quite powerful, because Hoi 4 for me is a difficult game to play. I love playing it, I'm just really bad at it. Budget-wise, this is what we ended on. 1.49 million national revenue, guys, on low taxes, still making money. 1.41 million national expenses. Now, I know I should have been putting these up. But honestly guys, remember in the mega campaign we're not trying to be too OP, so it really doesn't matter about min-maxing everything when you're playing these mega campaigns. It's more about getting through some years and making sure you don't do anything stupid. We do have over 100 million population now, which is fantastic, and for the first time in a long time, we have more loyalists than we do radicals. Literacy has remained a little bit of an issue, mainly because we couldn't change any laws to get our education institution a little bit higher. So yeah, but we are a lot more literate than Northern Europe, as you can see, guys. And in terms of states, Venice became the absolute powerhouse. 5.6 million population in Venice over here. I have been trying to boost up the infrastructure all the time, but yeah, it's got a lot of buildings, railways, universities, coal mines, sulfur mines, logging camps, motor industries, fertilizer plants, all that sort of thing in here. And here are the laws that we did end on, guys, and as you can see, we pretty much weren't able to touch any of this towards the end because we did make the agrarians very, very powerful. Now, I'm not too bothered about that, but yeah, it meant that we couldn't really pass any progressive laws on the human rights side. And of course, we have the glorious Emperor John Argiad, a name that has come out of the blue, honestly, but we do still have the same dynasty in charge from the very start of the game, which is the main aim, and that is pretty awesome. Institutions-wise, guys, we are maxed as far as we can go without changing any laws. So overall, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I can't wait to conquer the rest of the world in Hoi 4. That is going to be fun. Make a true Spartan world to finish this mega campaign off. If you have been enjoying it, please do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And here we are with the finale of the mega campaign as Sparta, guys, in a game that I love, but cannot play. Nice flag you've got there, Tamarkia. And for some reason, Awad, I feel like I might have seen that flag before. And apparently we are now Spartan Sierra Leone. Well, let's take a look at the world, guys, at the world that will soon be ruled by us, Sparta. And overall, the world is a little bit messy, I'm not gonna lie, but we are going to be cleaning up all of these borders today. And I'm not sure the Converter did a great job with this great nation. And if you thought Z01 was powerful, wait until you see Z09. Oyo's certainly changed in the last few years. But enough making fun of all the flags, guys. Here we are as Sparta. We are a fascist nation, one of only, I think, like 2 fascist nations in the game with, oh my god, not another flag. I'm not gonna lie, that completely threw me. But yeah, the Confederation of the Equator is also fascist as well. In terms of everyone else, they are pretty much all non-aligned, like Lotharingia, Favonia, Tamarkia, even though, you know, they might be one of our friends coming forward, but everyone is pretty non-aligned, so we might be a little bit lonely in the world. Good thing we've got all of our subjects. First things first, we're going to go political effort to get that PP, and of course, this ideology is perfect for us. I feel like it fits Sparta the most out of all the ideologies we could have been. But luckily, when we flipped to this, we didn't get rid of our glorious leader, the Grey Man, John Argiad. But because of our ideology, we already have partial mobilization, limited exports, and volunteer only, so overall pretty good laws at the start. And the only goods that we do have, though, are convoys and trains, so we're going to have to start building up pretty quickly. I mean, factory-wise, with 62 right at the start, it's pretty darn good. We do, however, only have 14 infantry divisions, which isn't great, I'm not going to lie. So I think what we're going to do is switch everyone across to this at the moment, and then when we get some army experience, we're going to get rid of the light tank there. We already have an okay submarine with torpedoes, so we are just going to be building a lot of these boys going forward. Research-wise, we are just going to be doing the standard bit of industry first, a bit of engineering as well, and I think let's get support weapons 1 too. First things first, we are going to build a naval base over here on the Sinai so we can get to that, and then a supply hub right there too. Then following that, we are going to build a few civilian factories in our heartland. Well, there we go. There is the queue for now, guys. And before you ask, guys, no, I don't have all of the DLC. I am sorry about that, but basically, I'm more of an ancient history guy. I love this game. I think it's a fantastic game, but ancient history is the one for me. And damn, we do not have good planes right now. But what is the goal for today, guys? Well, after the humiliating white peace of the First World War with Lotharingia, Sparta is planning its revenge. For too long, we have had our eyes further afield, building up a very rich economy for our nation. But old wounds remain in Europe, wounds that we have not yet managed to heal. Firstly, the Hellenistic Empire, the traitors that refuse to switch across to the new, true way of Hellenic religion, they have to go. And then, of course, we look north towards the powers that follow false religions, such as Catholic Lotharingia, who worship Ragnar Christ. So today, our ambition will not be sated until we finally bring Spartan rule to the world. I mean, looking at our resources, we have an insane amount of steel and chromium, so maybe we'll be able to do something with tanks, but for now, we're basically just going to be infantry boys, proper Spartan way of fighting. Right then, let's press play and see what happens in the world. I feel like there's going to be a few civil wars with some of these nations, because they're pretty split in ideology. Oh, and by the way, we have no navy or air force at all. I don't know why the converter's not giving us anything, but fine, fair enough. So we are going to justify straight away on the Hellenistic Empire, and hopefully in 250 days we'll be ready, but I really don't know. We do not have much equipment right now, and I was hoping that we'd have an option to boost our fascism support over here, but the only thing that we do have is communist support minus 0.01. I think we've got to take that though. And because of the fact that democracy is so high, we're going to have to take collectivist ethos straight away too. Well, there goes collectivist ethos. So I think we go for nationalism focus as well, just to make sure we don't get into any civil war shenanigans or anything like that. And there goes nationalism focus, guys. Very nice indeed. We're now going to get army effort for that army experience straight away. And then we're going to go down our industry path. Let's also get this resistance banker minus 30% consumer goods factories. That's actually pretty insane. Army effort done. Let's do our industry focuses. Well, there we go. Altered this template. Very nice indeed. This is pretty much the best we can do at the moment. Well, there goes our war goal, guys. And honestly, I think we just go for it. I don't think the Hellenistic Empire really has any troops. So here we go. Let us conquer them and let's see what happens. I mean, they don't even have any troops on this border at all, or this border. So I don't think it's going to be too bad, but let's see. Their capital is all the way over here too. Well, there we go. We've called all of our subjects in now, so they should be able to hopefully wipe out this area. Well, there we go. That was rather easy, I'm not gonna lie. So and we're basically just gonna take everything. Well, there we go, guys. We are pretty much taking all of the North African areas, a little bit of Arabia too, and giving the rest to Georgia, to Oye and Kitara over here. That should really help. I didn't want to take this land because I don't want to have to garrison it. So yeah, but the rest of this, that is all rightful Spartan claim. And there we go. We look pretty juicy right now, don't we? And it looks like we're the only ones contributing to world tension right now. And I was really confused why we have a massive deficit of light tanks and trucks. But it turns out in our occupied territories, we want tank divisions to be occupying these areas. No, I don't think that's the right shout. Let's go for cavalry divisions. That should help a lot. Right, let's get up to war economy, even though we're no longer at war. I think we're going to get a war industrialist too. And there, finally, we can get a better fighter. We can't actually do many modifications to it at the moment, but that's fine. We'll be able to in a little bit. And finally, let's work out how to use the truck. Well, there goes our 2 extra research slots, guys. Very nice indeed. We're going to go down the political path now. But honestly, I'm starting to think we may have either broken the game or we're just so powerful. Like, it's ridiculous. 157 factories already. That is crazy. And as you can see, no one is doing anything at all. Like, no one has done a single thing. So what we're trying to do is maybe spark some action by staging a coup in Tamarkia. But let's see what happens. And there we go. Finally, something is happening in the world. Tamarkia has split in 2. We have fascist Tamarkia and we have apparently non-fascist fascist Demarchia, so yeah, let's see who wins. Let's send some volunteers to fascist Demarchia. That should really help with our generation of experience. Well, there goes our volunteers, guys. That was a little bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. So we basically built a front line all the way across here, all the way to there, and then I tried to do a little push for the capital. We took the capital, but then all of Demarchia's troops just went away, or they got overrun or something. And basically now they have no troops on this front line. We got cut off and we died. So a little bit ambitious, I think, from our volunteers, but it looks like fascist Demarchia is going to lose. Well, honestly, guys, there is literally nothing happening in the world. I don't know whether the converter's just like broken everything or what the case is, but we're pretty overpowered. I don't know why, but we are so overpowered. We've already got 110,000 infantry equipment. Like, we're just ridiculously powerful. But I don't know whether there's anything else in the world that we can do. I may tag into like Ryanus or someone like that and try and force them to make a war goal on someone. So let's see whether we can do that and maybe get some action in the world. So what I have done, guys, is I have raised the world tension to 100%. I've tagged into Ryanus, justified a couple of war goals on the nations around them. And I've also, Galicia is justifying on Great Britain. So yeah, hopefully that kicks things into action. And to be fair, we finally got a couple of factions. The North American Syndicate in Persia and the Anishinaabe Concordat. Yes, the greatest faction of them all. And a communist nation too. Fantastic. Yes, finally things are about to happen, guys. And we've got ideological fanaticism over here, guys, allowing us now to start factions. So I think we do that right away. So let's create a faction with this Demarchia over here, and then we are going to join into this war. Well, there goes the call to arms, so let's get into it. And as you can see, we are the glorious faction of your faction name here. Honestly, I feel like that might be quite appropriate for how this game's been going so far. Oh, and by the way, all of our American holdings are not in the faction because they're no longer our subjects. I don't know why, but they're not our subjects anymore, so that's fine. Well, there goes that Demarchia, and we actually do have some points from this, but yeah, and we can take stuff, so I think we do that. I think we take the land that we once gave to them in EU4. And finally, something else happens in the world. Ryanus is attacking a Wad over here. Very nice. Well, we've got our justification against Lotharingia, so I think it's finally time to get involved in this war. Let's see which faction they decide to join and what that really does to the world. Now, obviously, it's been pretty easy so far, so let's call all of our allies. Lotharingia might have 100 divisions, so let's see whether that's going to make any difference. Well, I'm not going to lie, with all of our industry and all of our planes, I do not see this going badly at all. Okay, so now a few more people are involved. Korea, Wu, Syracuse, New Lotharingia, all that sort of thing, so that's quite interesting at least. Well, now it's time to convoy raid them into oblivion. Well, our convoy raiding is going pretty well, as you can see, guys. Same thing with predominantly the Air Force as well, although they're not focusing this area too well. But honestly, our biggest issue at the moment is supply, so we are going to have to try and sort that out, especially on this western edge. Well, there we go. We are starting now to make a bit of a breakthrough. Obviously, over here, supply is still a major issue. We have been trying to improve the supply by building up the railways, all that sort of thing. But yeah, we're going to have to just keep doing that as we move along. And who needs to defend the Alps when you can just go around the Alps? We've got a massive spearhead with our tank divisions now coming all the way around the Alps, which is pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. Well, there goes a brand new tank, and I think we're going to call it the Araeus. That is going to see us all the way through to the end of the game. The Araeus tank. Very nice indeed. Oh dear, Lotharingia, that is not looking too good for you, I'm not going to lie. Look at that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And there the Alps is now fully surrounded. Fantastic. Well, this is a bit of an encirclement, isn't it, guys? I mean, Lotharingia is pretty much done now. The lines are so messy, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah, I couldn't be bothered, really. I was just watching the glorious spearhead that went all the way, the tank division all the way from over there, all the way round to Spain. I just thought that was pretty epic. So instead of setting anything up in here, we're just going to do this. Yeah, and hopefully that works. Let's see. And damn, as soon as we started doing that, there was the huge capitulation. We got a lot of trucks, which is good because we really need some trucks. We are very, very low on those. And Tamarkia does have some points, so we'll probably let them take the east. But yeah, the west is going to be ours. The Catholic land that shall be now ruled by the Hellenists again. Worshipping of Ragnar Christ will be banned in this land. I mean, we have so many points that we can just take what we want right now, which is kind of insane. Well, there we go, guys. A pretty nice peace deal overall. We're now pretty darn big, aren't we? We are a big, scary boy. And honestly, we've got so many factories now, I don't even know what, what to do with most of them. We do need more trucks and support equipment, and of course, we could always do with more tanks. So, yeah, and we've not even run out of resources. Wow, we are powerful. In terms of our logistics, though, guys, we do still have a bit of a deficit of tanks, support equipment, and trucks. So we're basically going to chill out for a little bit and take out Galicia, and once Galicia's done, we'll just chill out and see what the rest of the world does and see what we can do about it. Right then, time to get into Galicia, guys. This should be a nice and easy war. I don't really care if anyone else comes in. There we go. This should be really easy. Well, there goes Galicia. They are a government in exile, though. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be taking out any of those small boys anytime soon. And there goes the justification on Mali. Basically, literally just so that this area is pretty much all taken by us. Well, there goes Mali. So now our borders are pretty much secure all the way around Europe and around this way. The only people that we may be worried about is Great Britain, so I think that's who we're going to go after next. Well, there goes our justification on Britain, so let's get that done straight away. Well, guys, we are just waiting for our Marines to be done to attack Great Britain, but while we are waiting for that, we have just got a good war goal against Lotharingia's Cascadia, so I think it's time, you know, we cleaned up this area a little bit, because it is pretty messy. Well, I'm not going to lie, guys, things on this front aren't going amazingly, shall we say. The supply is really a nightmare, and all of these terrible borders that we should have probably cleaned up in Vicky 3 are just proving to be quite difficult to deal with, honestly. But luckily, we are only using infantry over here, so the supply isn't horrendous. Now, I've brought some tank divisions across, ready to get into these borders if we want to as well. And there we go. Anish Nabek has just capitulated, which allows us to do a peace deal with Great Britain as well. And we didn't even invade Britain, so yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. First things first, though, let's make sure we take as much as we can in Europe, because that is our focus for our empire at the moment. I just realized how cursed that really is. Well, there we go. This is how it's going to pan out, guys. We've got New Lotharingia taking all the land in North America. We like that name because New Lotharingia is a lot better than Old Lotharingia. We have taken all of the African coast and all of the land in Europe, apart from the land up here that Tamarkia wants to take. So I think we leave that for now, and a good little victory for us. And we're actually right in time to declare war straight away on Damiania, and we're basically just going to go through all of the south of North and South of America before we turn to the east. I think we also go straight into the 13 colonies over here. We're going to call all of our allies into that as well. There we go. And basically with this one, we're just going to do that, and hopefully that's going to mop them up over here. These boys should be able to take out this area too, and then these guys can just do that. And then when it's a little bit less messy, we'll start actually organizing the armies, because at the moment, I'm just like, why? It's just so messy. Let's maybe now build a few special buildings for some new type of bomb we've been thinking about. Well, there we go. There goes Damiania, and we are just going to give it to New Lotharingia again. And at this point, guys, we are just literally justifying on everyone that we border over here right now. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get into some more wars soon. And we've just gone up to limited conscription because we are a little bit low on manpower now. So, that should really help out. And then if we need to, we will go on to extensive, but I don't think we really will need to this whole game, guys. It's been pretty nice so far. Well, let's bring Areius' kingdom back into the fold, my friends. And I think we will actually puppet them rather than do anything else because, yeah, I like having them up here on the map. Well, there goes our Once Upon a Time colony. All puppeted now. Very nice indeed. So straight on to this Columbia over here. That should be rather easy. And there goes Ryanus, guys, as well. So Awad now has power in Asia. Well, there we go, guys. We can't actually take this bit of Columbia because we don't have enough points. But everything else is done. And Columbia, I guess, can be an independent nation left in the world over here. That's fine. Finally, there is another faction, the Asia Alliance of Awad over here, so that is one good thing. I've also kicked Tamarkia out of our faction because I think we're going to have a go at them next. However, we're justifying a lot of war goals at the moment, so yeah. We need to clean up South America first. Well, that is more like it, guys. I've used the console to make the Asian Alliance a little bit bigger because ultimately, if this isn't bigger, all we're going to be doing is just justifying and fighting one enemy at a time. And I think it's better to fight everyone. But because I had to unpause as a WAD, our armies are a bit screwed now, so yeah, we're going to have a look at this and try and sort this out. Well, that is all the armies and air forces redone, guys. It did take a little while. I think around 20 minutes, but now our armies are properly organized. This is an absolute mess over here. I hate it so much. But yeah, as soon as we get into one of these smaller guys over here, we are going to trigger the war for the whole coalition. So that should be interesting at least, and a big thing to finish on. We pretty much own most of this area, basically, of the world right now. So it's time to get into Asia and bring our world dominance to head. I mean, we're not struggling for equipment right now. We are just so OP. It's ridiculous. I was just about to say, we pretty much haven't changed the templates of this, but apparently they decommissioned some templates. I don't know why. Why would you do this? Well, finally, we can declare war on Eusabonia. I don't think that's actually going to do much. I don't think they're going to join the coalition, but let's see. Well, there goes Eusabonia, and unfortunately for them, the glory of Vassalou to Areius is not theirs, so we're just going to take it ourselves. And honestly, at this point, guys, we are pretty much like all done with research. We really don't need to research anything else. Well then, guys, here it is. This is going to be the big one. I believe they're still in the faction. Let's have a look. There we go. Finally, a proper war. And for some reason, they haven't brought in Tamarkia. I thought they might do, but I guess not. And supply is just horrendous in these places that we are fighting in America right now. Like, everywhere, supply is terrible. And for some reason, like, I would like someone to tell me why I can't enter these provinces. Like, we are at war with them. That's the weird thing. We are at war with them, and this is our land, not a subject's land that's not in the war, so yeah, I don't really understand that, but maybe we'll be able to go this way? I'm not sure. Finally, it's registered that they're in the war. Wow, that took a little while. And all of these people are just like capitulating individually, which is very strange indeed. I don't know why that's happening. Someone please tell me in the comments. I don't know enough about this game to know why that's happening. Well, I've got to say, fighting through the jungle is unsurprisingly pretty difficult right now. We are managing to push them, but it's quite messy, really. I think we'll invite the big Gummo boys to our faction too. And there we can actually see now what is going on over here. And let's join this war. That should finally bring in Awad to the big war. Because for some reason, they just kind of weren't in the war. Like, I think we've messed the game up quite a bit. And there, finally, the war goal against Tamarkia is done now. I think they are going to probably invade the Gummos, so that's not great for us. I do need to maybe set up one or two more fronts over here, but hopefully Favonia can sort that out. So yeah, let's go for it. Well, apparently Yamnat doesn't want to bring in Favonia, so I guess we're just gonna have to push through the south here. I mean, that's fine by me, but please bring in Favonia, Yamnat. We've got all our tanks set up here for a reason. Well, Tamarkia is coming through the back, which is never good. So what we are going to do is get these boys, once they've cleaned up this mess, get them over to that front. We are doing pretty well on this front over here, as you can see. Just no supply once again. So I am, you know, constantly building up supply hubs and railways, all that sort of thing. Alesia Pediada has now capitulated, which is really good for us because we were using like 2 armies down here to sort of to deal with them. So we really need to get going. Now, supply, of course, isn't amazing, but honestly, over here, it's not too bad for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, no, we're in a pretty good position. Tanks in the mountains, of course, is not min-maxing, guys, but they're still doing a pretty good job. Once we've cleaned up these little 2 holes over here, those encirclements, we're going to spread out and go up north this way, basically, to try and unify our fronts. Over in South America, things are going okay. Like, we've taken out the south, the center, all that sort of thing. There's been a couple of like little landings and stuff like that, which I hope New Lotharingia will actually do something about, but it looks like they're not doing anything, just letting this Tamarkian unit roam around. So, oh, we have troops here. Who are you? You're not even part of an army. You're just like random troops given to us? Well, you've got a new job for you guys. And things are beginning to roll on the Eastern Front there. There goes Bemba again. They've capitulated about 7 times in this war, by the way. So yeah, because yeah, Africa's not looking too good for us, honestly. We are losing over here, but I've not really committed any troops, so that's fine. We'll leave that alone. But yeah, these are the important areas, and yeah, we're doing a pretty darn good job, I've got to say, of pushing Tamarkia back. Supply, of course, isn't great, especially over in the west. Might be stacking a little bit too much. But yeah, we're going to get a huge encirclement off here if we can. So what I am going to do is try and micro that as well. And there, finally, Confederation of the Equator is done. So South America is pretty much all ours now. Once again, actually, once again. Well, the question now is, where do we go with these troops? And I think, honestly, oh my god, that encirclement is filthy. That is absolutely glorious. I think we're going good against Tamarkia. So what we might do then, you can see, these guys are a little bit battered and bruised, but there is an actual front over here at Sind. Someone opened it up. I honestly don't know who, because I don't think we had anyone in our power block over here. So, yeah, we might just come and join this front. I think that'll be good. And damn, look at the spearhead that we are making through Tamarkia now that we've realigned our goals somewhat to go north rather than sort of west. So yeah, hopefully we can start building that up a little bit. I am, of course, continually building railways, supply hubs, all that sort of thing, but we're still struggling with supply. I think the problem is we're just going so fast, like we're moving so quickly, that yeah, it's a bit of an issue. And it looks like we did manage to get a naval invasion off over here on Cuba, so let's get that one going. That'll be good. And damn, Awad capitulated. I don't know why. We hardly invaded them at all, so that's a very strange one, I've got to say. Well, there goes the Gummo revolt. Very interesting indeed, shall we say. They've pretty much taken all of India, all that sort of thing. We're still going with Tamarkia. We took all of South America. Gunun Atuk is our sort of native vassal, which is pretty cool, honestly. And yeah, we took everything that we could off Cuba, all that sort of thing. But the Gummos took Cuba as well. Very interesting, shall we say. And finally, we can now push from the east as well. I don't know why that's changed, but it has, so great. And there goes Tamarkia as well, guys. Very nice indeed. Well, I think we'll be taking all this land back off them that we once had. Well, the problem is, because Favonia never joined this war, we can't give this land to them, which is a little bit annoying, honestly. And there's no one else that's a good person to give it to, so I think we just take this bit of land here, and then we puppet the rest of them. So overall, it's not the best peace deal you could ever see in your life. There's now 2 Tamarkias, one of them puppeted by us, but yeah, I mean, for our borders, they're nice and clean, so that's the most important thing, I guess. And there goes Germany as well, now rightful Spartan clay. And I think finally we're going to go service by requirement for our last big war, which of course is going to be against the Gummo boys. Well, here we go. Let's see how we do. The big war to finish this off to, you know, control the whole world, basically. And that's a lot of green. I wish Yamnat would just bring Favonia into these wars. Like, why? Please. Like, just come into the wars so we can, you know, invade from over there. Horrible border gore. I've got to say, so far, no one has dropped any nukes, I don't believe. So, in some senses, this Spartan world is better than the real one. Well, things are going okay. Of course, supply is horrendous once again, but we have got some good breakthroughs down here. We've nearly taken all of India back off them, which is really, really good for us. I'm trying to break through up here with a new division, basically trying to combine our lines over here, hopefully get rid of some more of their victory points. They have had a naval invasion over here by some of our little vassals, Oye included, the boys, Oyo, sorry. So, yeah, and of course, we've got a big front up here that is horrendous, as you might expect. So, yeah, things are looking okay. Well then, we've managed to join up the fronts, guys, and I've swapped out the tanks on this front. They have come down here where there is a tiny bit better supply. India is going very, very well. As you can see, we've nearly mopped up nearly all of India. Now, of course, we are overstacking over here quite a bit, but I'm just really not bothered at this point. I just want this war to be over. So, and that is horrific. But yeah. So now we are going to be pushing through Siberia. There is some victory points over here. So yeah, it looks like we are going to have to go through there. They're not even that close to capitulating. So another 20% of the victory points and we will win. So yeah, we're coming down this way with our tanks. When they're done, we're probably going to go through China. Now it's going to be, again, terrible supply across here. But I think the best way to go through China is from the back, as we can see, once India is done as well. And it looks like they are finally starting to fail. They've put up a very good fight, honestly. In terms of losses, 4.3 million for them, 2.2 million for us. They are very close to capitulating now. We only need a couple more victory points, which we probably can do quite quickly. Like, there's a big victory point there. We're not on that front line there. We're more over here. So yeah, there's a couple of victory points we can take and then we'll be good. And there we go. Very nice indeed, my friends. Very nice indeed. Well, guys, there we go. We have a pretty large empire now, you might say. Sind, of course, as well, part of our faction. So yeah, they got all of India. We gave Wu all of pretty much East Asia, apart from a bit for Korea. And we resurrected one of our good buddies from our previous games, Timarchia, as well. Pretty much all of Africa is under our control, the same as South America and North America. So I think at this point, guys, like, we could go around and, you know, start justifying on all these tiny little guys like Great Britain and everything just to clean up the borders. But honestly, I think that's appropriate at this point. All the main borders are very clean indeed, and there's really no one else that can stand up to us at all at this point. We've got 9 million manpower. Just have a look at our logistics, guys. 2 million infantry equipment, 150,000 artillery, 450,000 trucks, 250,000 support equipment, and 130,000 light tanks as well. 16,000 CAS just in the background as well that we didn't even use that much of. We gave each army like 300 CAS or something, and that was about it. But like, we could have had them have like 1,000 each if we really wanted to, which would have just been insane. So honestly, this world, in my opinion, is pretty cool. I love the fact that the Aborigines like survived as a nation. All of the world is pretty much under Sparta's control now. These guys are all our puppets, of course. All of these guys in Africa are our puppets as well. Let's just go on the diplomacy map mode. We might be able to see it better. So yeah, there we go. That is the world that we own. You know, there's a few independent nations like Uyghur and Japan, but honestly, it really is a Spartan world now. Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed the mega campaign. I really have enjoyed it. It's been really fun. Thank you very much for tuning in, and all of you new guys, please do like and subscribe if you do enjoy this series, and make sure you check out some of my other videos, CK3, Imperator Rome, and mainly the other Paradox games that I play, but I may play some more EU4 in future, so please do check out the rest of the channel. But without further ado, guys, thank you for watching this glorious mega campaign where Sparta has risen from a city-state to world domination, and I will see you all again on the next video. Once again, massive thank you to some of the channel members, Pascal, David, and Cowie. If you are interested in supporting the channel, you can do for as little as $1 a month down below. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you all again on the next video.